The ER doors explode inward at 2:47 a.m., and Sarah Mitchell's first thought isn't about the armed men. It's about the blood pattern on the gurney they're pushing. Wrong angle, wrong volume, wrong everything. Get back! A security guard shoves past her, nearly knocking the IV tray from her hands. She steadies it without a word, her eyes still locked on the supposed gunshot victim being rushed through triage. The man's wounds are fresh, but the way his armed escort moves, tight formation, scanning corners, hands never far from holsters, that's not police procedure. That's extraction protocol. Nurse, move. Dr. Raymond Castellano doesn't even look at her as he barks the order, already striding toward Trauma Bay 3 with 2 residents scrambling behind him. This is above your pay grade. Sarah steps aside. She always does. 5 years at Mercy General in downtown Portland, and she's perfected the art of being invisible. The quiet white nurse who restocks supplies, follows orders, never makes waves. The one administrators ignore during budget meetings and doctors talk over during rounds. But her hands don't shake as she watches the controlled chaos unfold, because something about this whole situation isn't random violence. It's a kill box, and she's the only one in this hospital who knows what that means. If you want to see how the invisible nurse everyone underestimated becomes the only thing standing between this hospital and catastrophe, stay with me until the end. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The wounded man is maybe 30, Hispanic, well-built beneath the torn tactical clothing that someone tried to make look like civilian clothes. Sarah catches the detail as they wheel him past. The fabric tears are too clean, the distress too uniform. Costume department work, not actual damage. Gunshot wound to the abdomen, possible internal bleeding, one of the escort officers shouts, but his voice has the wrong pitch, too rehearsed. Dr. Castellano is already snapping orders. Get me a trauma panel, 2 units O negative on standby, and page surgery, now. Sarah moves to the supply cabinet, her movements automatic after thousands of shifts. She pulls what they'll need, trauma shears, gauze packs, chest seals, but her attention is split. 3 of the officers have positioned themselves at the ER exits, not guarding, blocking. The 4th is watching the security cameras, not the patient, the cameras. Nurse Mitchell, Castellano's voice cuts through the noise. IV access 16 gauge, let's go. She approaches the gurney, kit in hand. The patient's eyes are closed, his breathing shallow. But when she reaches for his arm, she sees it, the faint tan line where a watch usually sits. Military watch based on the width. And his hands, despite the blood, show calluses in all the wrong places for a civilian. Trigger finger, rope work, combat training. His BP's dropping, one of the residents says, eyes glued to the monitor. Sarah finds the vein on the first try, slides the catheter home, tapes it down. The patient's eyes flutter open for just a second, meet hers. There's recognition there, not of her specifically, but of what she is, or was. Then his gaze slides away and he groans, a performance of pain that's almost good enough. Hang 2 liters of saline wide open, Castellano orders, not looking up from his examination. And someone get that nurse out of here. We need room to work. Sarah steps back without argument, lets a younger nurse take her place. She drifts toward the supply station, appears to be restocking, but positions herself where she can see the whole bay. The 4 armed men in fake police uniforms. The patient who's bleeding, but not enough. The way one of the escorts keeps checking his phone, discreet but repetitive, waiting for a signal. Dr. Castellano is oblivious, focused entirely on the clinical picture. Abdomen's rigid, likely peritoneal irritation. We need a fast exam, check for free fluid. Doctor, Sarah keeps her voice level, quiet enough that it won't carry. Those men aren't real police. He doesn't even pause. Excuse me? They're uniforms, wrong badges, wrong equipment placement, and they're not securing a crime victim. They're running a perimeter. Castellano finally looks at her, his expression somewhere between irritation and disbelief. Nurse Mitchell, I don't have time for whatever paranoid. The patient's injuries are staged. She says it flat, factual. Wound tracks wrong angle for a shooting, blood loss doesn't match the timeline, and his physical conditioning suggests military, not civilian. For a moment, the only sound is the heart monitor's steady beep. Then Castellano turns his back on her. Someone get Mitchell reassigned. Now. The charge nurse, Patricia Odom, appears at Sarah's elbow. She's worked at Mercy for 15 years, survived 3 hospital mergers, and has the permanent expression of someone who's seen it all. Sarah, honey, maybe you should take your break early. Patricia, that's not a suggestion. Patricia's voice drops. Castellano already filed 2 complaints about you this month. Overstepping boundaries, he called it. You really want to give him a third? Sarah meets her eyes. Patricia means well, she always does. But she doesn't understand what's unfolding here, doesn't see the pieces clicking into place. The fake officers, the staged patient, the careful positioning of personnel. This isn't chaos. It's choreography. Fine, Sarah says quietly. She heads toward the staff lounge, but angles her path to pass the main security desk. Marcus Reed is on duty tonight, late 50s, former Army MP, good instincts dulled by a decade of nothing more dangerous than drunk teenagers and parking disputes. He's watching the monitor display, 6 screens showing different hospital zones. Sarah stops beside him, casual. Marcus, those officers with the GSW patient, they check in with you? He frowns, leans closer to the screen. No, should have though. Protocol says any armed personnel signs the log. He reaches for his radio, then hesitates. But if they're police, he tests. When's the last time Portland PD showed up without calling ahead? That lands. Marcus has been here long enough to know the patterns, the procedures. Late-night emergencies get called in, not dropped on the doorstep. You thinking something's off? I'm thinking you should call the actual police, verify those badges. He studies her face, measuring. Sarah knows what he sees. A quiet nurse who usually keeps her head down, suddenly making waves. But whatever he reads there convinces him. He picks up the phone, starts dialing. Sarah doesn't wait to hear the conversation. She moves back toward the ER, taking the long route past the ambulance bay. Through the windows, she counts vehicles. 2 police cruisers, both parked with engines running. A waste of gas unless you're planning a fast exit. And in the far corner of the lot, barely visible in the shadows, a black panel van with no markings. Her pulse kicks up, but her hands stay steady. She's been out for 4 years. 4 years of thermometers and bedpans and pretending she doesn't notice when something's wrong. 4 years of being invisible, unremarkable, safe. But some training doesn't fade. It just waits. She's halfway back to the ER when the lights cut out. Not a flicker, a deliberate kill. The hallway plunges into darkness for 3 seconds before the emergency generators kick in, bathing everything in dim red backup lighting. Around her, staff react with confusion. A few startled shouts. Standard hospital blackout procedure. But Sarah's already moving, pushing through the crowd toward the ER, because that wasn't a power failure. That was a go signal. She reaches the ER entrance just as the screaming starts. Not patients, staff. The sound of it cuts through the usual chaos, sharp with real terror. Sarah shoves through the door and takes in the scene in a single snapshot. Dr. Castellano on the floor, hands zip-tied behind his back. 3 nurses huddled against the wall, one bleeding from a head wound. The fake patient sitting up on the gurney, no longer pretending to be injured, a pistol in his hand. And the 4 officers moving with military precision, securing the space, weapons drawn. Everyone stays calm. Nobody gets hurt, the leader says. He's tall, white, mid-40s, with this kind of voice that's used to being obeyed. We're going to be here for about 15 minutes. You cooperate, you go home tonight. Patricia has her hands up, eyes wide. Please, we have patience, and they'll be fine as long as everyone follows instructions. The leader gestures to one of his men. Lock it down. No one in or out. Sarah stays near the door, partially hidden behind a medication cart. Every instinct screams at her to move, to act, but she forces herself still. Count the weapons. Map the positions. Identify the objective. 4 armed hostiles, all carrying suppressed handguns. Expensive hardware, not street level. The patient is the 5th, making this a full tactical element. They're not looking at the medical staff, they're watching the hallways, the approaches. Defensive posture. They're not here for the hospital, they're using it. The leader pulls out a phone, sends a quick text. 30 seconds later, A woman in scrubs appears from the staff corridor, but Sarah's never seen her before. Wrong shoes, wrong walk. The woman moves like she's done hostage rescue training, not nursing school. Status? The leader asks. Third floor, East Wing, the woman reports. Room 317. Guards are minimal. 2 uniformed, 1 plainclothes. The leader nods. Extraction team? In position, waiting for confirmation. Sarah's mind races. Third floor East Wing is the secure medical unit where they keep high-risk patients, inmates awaiting trial, witnesses under protection, anyone who needs police presence during treatment. This isn't a random attack. It's a targeted extraction, and the ER assault was the distraction. The fake patient stands, stretches like he's been cramped. How long? 5 minutes. The leader checks his watch. Then we're gone. Sarah needs to move. Needs to warn someone. Get to Marcus. Trigger a real lockdown before these people disappear with whoever they came for. But the ER is covered. The exit's blocked. And if she tries to run, they'll stop her. She needs a different angle. Slowly, carefully, she backs toward the supply closet. Her hand finds the door handle, turns it with painful slowness. The closet is small, cramped, lined with shelves of medical supplies. But in the back corner, behind the boxes of gloves, there's a maintenance access panel, part of the old hospital infrastructure before the last renovation. Sarah squeezes behind the shelves, finds the panel, pops it loose. The space beyond is dark, barely wide enough for a person, but it connects to the service corridors, the ones housekeeping uses, the ones nobody pays attention to. She slides through, pulling the panel closed behind her. The service corridor is dim, smells like disinfectant and old dust. She moves fast now, no longer worried about being seen. The layout comes back to her, blueprints studied during orientation 5 years ago, filed away in case she ever needed them. She reaches a junction, takes the left branch toward the main security office. Her feet are silent on the concrete floor. Behind her, she can hear the muffled sounds of the ER through the walls, voices, movement, the steady chirp of monitors. Normal hospital sounds layered over something very wrong. The security office door is locked, but Sarah has the override code. One of the perks of being invisible is that people forget you're listening when they enter passwords. She punches it in, slips inside. Marcus is on the floor, unconscious but breathing, a nasty bruise forming on his temple. His radio is gone. The phone line is cut. Sarah checks his pulse, steady, then moves to the computer. The security system is still active, cameras recording to backup drives, even with the main monitors dark. She pulls up the third floor feed, finds room 317. The patient inside is a kid, maybe 19, Southeast Asian, handcuffed to the bed rail. 2 uniformed guards outside his door, relaxed. They haven't heard about the ER. The internal phones are down. Sarah cycles through more cameras. The extraction team is already moving. 3 people in hospital uniforms, pushing a gurney, heading toward the secure unit. They'll be there in 90 seconds. She needs to stop them, warn the guards. But if she uses the PA system, the team in the ER will hear it, know someone slipped their net. Her hand hovers over the keyboard, running scenarios, calculating angles. Then she sees it. The fire alarm system, independent circuit, hardwired to city codes, impossible to override. Pull it, and the whole hospital goes into evacuation mode. Doors unlock, sprinklers activate, fire department responds. Too much chaos for an extraction, too many witnesses, but it also means evacuating patients, some of them critical, some who won't survive being moved. Sarah's finger rests on the button, and for 3 seconds she's frozen. This isn't her fight. She clocked out of that life 4 years ago, walked away from the uniforms and the missions and the impossible choices. She's just a nurse now, a nobody. Safe. Then she thinks about the kid in room 317, handcuffed and helpless, about to disappear into whatever fate these people have planned. And she realizes she was never really out. She slams the fire alarm. The sound is immediate, deafening, a piercing wail that cuts through every floor. Light strobe. The PA system activates automatically. Attention! Fire alarm activated. Please proceed to the nearest exit. Sarah's already moving. She grabs Marcus's backup radio from the equipment locker, keys the emergency channel. Security to 3rd floor east, room 317. Armed hostiles. Extraction in progress. Repeat. Armed hostiles. A hand closes on her wrist. yanks the radio away. Sarah spins, already dropping her weight, driving her elbow back into someone's stomach. The woman from the ER, fake scrubs, stumbles but doesn't fall. She's fast, trained, brings her weapon up. Sarah doesn't give her time to aim. She steps inside the gun's arc, traps the woman's arm, uses her momentum to slam her against the desk. The weapon falls. They grapple, silent, vicious. The woman gets a hand on Sarah's throat, squeezes. Sarah drives her knee up, connects, breaks the grip. For 5 seconds, they're matched. Then Sarah gets the angle she needs, hooks the woman's leg, sends them both crashing into the shelving unit. Medical supplies rain down. Bandages, tape, bottles of saline. The woman reaches for something at her belt. Sarah sees the knife too late. The blade comes up fast, catches her forearm, lays it open in a hot line of pain. Sarah grabs a plastic bottle, hydrogen peroxide, and smashes it into the woman's face. The cap pops off. Liquid splashes. The woman screams, claws at her eyes. Sarah doesn't wait. She grabs the fallen radio, stumbles out into the hallway. Her arm is bleeding badly, soaking through her scrubs, but she keeps moving. The fire alarm is still screaming. Around her, the hospital is mobilizing, staff evacuating patients, everyone moving toward exits. She reaches the stairwell, takes the steps 2 at a time up to the 3rd floor. Her vision is starting to narrow, blood loss catching up with her, but she pushes through. The secure unit is ahead. She can see the uniformed guards, alert now, weapons drawn, holding position outside room 317. And she can see the extraction team, 3 people in hospital scrubs, frozen in the hallway as their plan collapses around them. One is holding a gurney. One has a bag that definitely doesn't contain medical supplies. The third is talking into a radio. Urgent. They see her at the same moment she sees them, blood-soaked, armed with nothing but a security radio. A nobody nurse who should have stayed down. The one with the bag reaches inside, pulls out a compact submachine gun. Sarah hits the floor as the hallway explodes. The guards return fire. Patients are screaming. Someone tackles her from behind, drives her into a doorway. She fights back, then realizes it's one of the guards, protecting her, not attacking. "Stay down!" he shouts over the gunfire. The extraction team is retreating, laying down suppressing fire. They're not trying to complete the mission anymore. They're trying to survive. One goes down, hit in the leg. The other 2 grab him, drag him back toward the elevators. Then real police arrive, actual Portland PD, flooding in from the stairwells with sirens wailing outside. The fire alarm has brought everyone. The extraction team is trapped, surrounded, finished. They drop their weapons, get on the ground. It's over. Sarah slumps against the wall, her arms screaming, her hands shaking now that the adrenaline is crashing. A paramedic appears beside her, someone from another unit, not involved in the ER disaster, and starts working on her arm. The wound needs stitches, lots of them. Dr. Castellano stumbles out of the ER, zip ties cut, looking dazed. He sees Sarah, sees the blood, the chaos, the arrested extraction team. His face goes through several expressions: confusion, realization, something that might be shame. "You..." He starts, then stops. "You knew." "What?" Sarah doesn't answer. She's watching the 3rd floor as more police secure the scene, as the kid in room 317 is moved to a safe location, as the pieces of a failed operation are cataloged and contained. Patricia appears, miraculously calm despite the blood on her scrubs. "Sarah, honey, what the hell just happened?" "They used the ER as a diversion," Sarah says quietly, letting the paramedic wrap her arm. "The real target was upstairs. Witness extraction, probably organized crime." "How did you—" Patricia stops herself, studying Sarah's face, really looking at her, maybe for the first time in 5 years. "Who are you?" Before Sarah can answer, the elevator dings. More people step out, but these aren't police. They're wearing dark suits, federal badges, the kind of authority that makes local cops step aside. 3 men, 1 woman, all moving with the same controlled precision Sarah recognizes. The lead agent scans the hallway, cataloging details. Then his eyes land on Sarah. He stops walking. Just stops, like he's seen a ghost. "Mitchell?" His voice is careful, uncertain. "Sarah Mitchell?" Sarah meets his gaze. She knows him. Worked with him 6 years ago on an operation in Kandahar. Thought she'd never see him again. Tried to make sure of it. "Agent Reeves?" she says, her voice flat. He approaches slowly, like she might bolt. "I thought you were... We all thought you were out, that you'd disappeared." "I did." "As a nurse?" There's something in his voice, not judgment, but genuine confusion, like he can't reconcile the woman he knew with what he's seeing. Around them, other agents are securing the scene, taking statements. One is talking to Castellano, whose responses are getting quieter with each question. Patricia is still standing nearby, arms crossed, waiting for an explanation Sarah doesn't want to give. Reeves glances at her bandaged arm, the blood on her scrubs. "You stopped this. Alone. I pulled a fire alarm. Don't." His voice sharpens. "I've been reading the security footage. You identified the operation, neutralized one hostile, and triggered the evacuation that collapsed their extraction. That's not pulling a fire alarm. That's..." He trails off, but Sarah knows what he's not saying. "That's what you were trained to do. That's who you were." "I need to give a statement," Sarah says instead, pushing to her feet. The paramedic tries to stop her, but she waves him off. "After that, I'm going home." "Sarah." Reeves steps closer, lowering his voice. "This wasn't random. The target they were extracting, his testimony links to something bigger. A trafficking network we've been tracking for 2 years. Someone knew he was here, knew the security protocols, had inside information. Then you have a leak. I have a tactical operator working as a civilian nurse." He holds her gaze. "And I'm wondering why." The question hangs between them, heavy with implications. Around them, the hospital is slowly returning to controlled chaos. Fire trucks leaving, patients being reassessed, staff dealing with shock and confusion. Sarah looks at her hands. They're steady now. No shake. No hesitation. 4 years of forcing them to stay calm during bedside crises, and they remember combat like it was yesterday. "I left," she says finally. "I wanted normal, safe, something that didn't involve choosing who lives. And tonight? Tonight she made the same impossible calculations she swore she'd never make again. Risked patients to stop an extraction. Fought hand-to-hand in a hospital. Became exactly what she'd been running from. Tonight was a mistake, she says. But even as the words leave her mouth, she knows they're wrong. Because that kid in room 317 is alive. The extraction failed. The trafficking network will take a hit. Sometimes mistakes are the only right choice. Reeves hands her a card. "When you're ready to talk, really talk, call me. We could use someone with your skills. I'm a nurse. You're a ghost with a stethoscope." He says it without malice, just fact. "And tonight, you just proved you can't hide from what you are." He walks away, leaving Sarah standing in the hallway with Patricia still watching, Castellano still staring, and a hospital full of people who will never look at the quiet nurse the same way again. The charge nurse finally breaks the silence. "Sarah, honey, I'm going to need that full explanation now." Before Sarah can answer, her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. "Nice work tonight, but you made yourself visible. They'll come looking now. Be ready." Sarah stares at the message, ice forming in her stomach, because whoever sent it isn't wrong. She spent 4 years invisible, and tonight she lit herself up like a target. Every enemy she made in her old life, every operation that went sideways, every person with a grudge, they'll all know where to find her now. She deletes the text, pockets the phone, looks at Patricia. "I need a new bandage," Sarah says quietly, "and then I need to get back to work." Because running didn't save her. Hiding didn't protect her. And if her old life is coming whether she wants it or not, she might as well face it on her own terms. In the ER, doctors are treating the wounded. Security is reviewing protocols. And in room 317, a 19-year-old kid is alive because a nobody nurse refused to look away. Sarah's arm throbs. Her hands are stained with blood. And somewhere in the building, federal agents are pulling security footage that will raise 1,000 questions she doesn't want to answer. But for the first time in 4 years, she feels like herself again. And that terrifies her more than any gunfight ever did. The new bandage is tight enough to make her arm pulse with each heartbeat. But Sarah keeps her face neutral as Patricia walks her back through the ER. The chaos has settled into something resembling order, police taking statements, administrators hovering near the taped-off trauma bay, night shift staff standing in small clusters whispering about what they saw, or think they saw. Dr. Castellano is sitting on a gurney in the far corner being examined by another physician. He looks up as Sarah passes, opens his mouth like he wants to say something, then closes it again. She doesn't slow down. "You're not going back on the floor tonight, Patricia says. "It's not a question. I'm fine. Your arm needs 12 stitches, and you've got enough adrenaline in your system to power the hospital." Patricia stops at the staff lounge door, blocking Sarah's path. "Go home. Sleep. Come back tomorrow, and we'll figure out what happens next." What happens next is I finish my shift. Patricia's expression shifts, still concerned but harder now. "Sarah, the police want a full statement. The feds want a full statement. Administration is going to want an incident report that probably runs 20 pages. And every person in this building just watched you do things that nurses aren't supposed to know how to do." She pauses. "So no, you're not finishing your shift. You're going home before this gets more complicated." Sarah wants to argue, but the exhaustion is starting to catch up. The fight in the security office, the blood loss, the way her hands won't quite stop trembling now that no one's shooting at her. "Fine. And Sarah?" Patricia's voice drops. "Whatever you were before you came here, I don't need to know. But if it's coming back, you tell me, because I'm not losing a good nurse to something she ran away from." Sarah meets her eyes. "I'm just a nurse." "Sure you are, honey." Patricia pulls the door open. "Now get out of here before I have to make it an order." The staff lounge is empty, everyone either dealing with patients or being questioned by police. Sarah grabs her jacket from her locker, checks her phone. 3 missed calls from Reeves, 2 texts from numbers she doesn't recognize, and 1 voicemail that makes her stomach drop when she sees the timestamp. It came in 20 minutes ago, during the firefight. She hits play. Static. Breathing. Then a voice, male, heavily accented. "Sarah Mitchell, we know where you are now. This is just the beginning." The message ends. Sarah deletes it, but her hand is shaking again, not from exhaustion this time. Someone made that call while she was fighting for her life on the 3rd floor. Someone who knew exactly what was happening. She shoves the phone in her pocket, heads for the exit. The hospital corridors are too bright, too exposed. Every person she passes could be watching. Every shadow could be hiding something. It's paranoia. She knows it's paranoia. But 4 years of safety just evaporated, and her instincts are screaming that she's compromised. The night air hits her face like a slap. The parking lot is still full of police vehicles, news vans setting up in the far corner, reporters doing stand-ups with the hospital lit behind them. Sarah keeps her head down, cuts through the staff lot toward her car, a 10-year-old Honda Civic that blends into traffic like camouflage. She's 15 feet away when she sees the man leaning against the driver's door. Not Reeves. Someone else. Late 30s, black, wearing a leather jacket, and the kind of casual alertness that screams military. He's not trying to hide, just waiting. Sarah stops walking. Her keys are in her hand, positioned between her fingers like she was taught. "Move." The man doesn't. "Sarah Mitchell, we need to talk." "I don't know you." "Devin Pierce. I was with the 75th when you were running logistics in Kabul." He says it quiet enough that the words don't carry. "I know what you can do, and I know why you left." That stops her. The 75th Ranger Regiment. She'd worked with them twice, coordinated medevac routes during high-value target operations. Pierce. The name tugs at memory, but she can't place the face. Too many operations. Too many faces. "What do you want?" "To tell you that what happened tonight wasn't random." Pierce pushes off the car, hands visible, non-threatening. "The extraction team you stopped? They were working for the Volkov Network, Eastern European trafficking operation with reach into 6 states. And the kid they were after, Miguel Reyes, he's the only witness who can connect the network to someone high up, someone protected." Sarah keeps her distance. "That's federal business, not mine. It became yours the second you pulled that fire alarm." He takes a step closer. Sarah tenses, but he stops immediately, reading her body language. They know who you are now, what you did, and Volkov doesn't leave loose ends. Then the feds can protect me. The feds couldn't protect Miguel, and he was in a secure unit with armed guards. Pierce's voice hardens. You think they'll do better with you, a civilian, an off-the-books operator who doesn't officially exist? I'm a nurse. You're a target. He pulls out his phone, shows her a photo. It's grainy. Surveillance footage from inside the hospital. Sarah fighting the woman in the security office. Someone filmed it. Someone sent it out. This hit the dark web 40 minutes ago. Price on your head by morning. Sarah stares at the image. Her face is clear. The moves she used, disarming, grappling, the way she controlled the fight, anyone with training will recognize what she is, was, whatever. How much? Her voice comes out flat. 50,000 to start. More if the job's public. Pierce pockets the phone. You made them look weak, stopped their extraction, humiliated their people. They'll want you to suffer. And you're here because I run a private security firm. We handle problems the government can't touch. He hands her a business card. Heavy stock, minimal design. Just a name and a phone number. You need protection, you need resources, you need people who actually know how to fight a trafficking network. You call me. Sarah looks at the card, then at Pierce. What's it cost? For you, nothing. Consider it professional courtesy. He turns to leave, then pauses. But Sarah, you can't hide anymore. They found you once, they'll find you again. So either you run for the rest of your life or you stand and fight. Your call. He walks away, disappearing into the parking lot shadows. Sarah stands alone beside her car, the business card in one hand, her keys in the other. The hospital looms behind her, windows blazing with light. Somewhere inside, Agent Reeves is reviewing footage. Dr. Castellano is trying to process what he saw. Patricia is covering her absence on the floor. And somewhere out in the dark, people are looking at her photo, calculating angles, planning approaches. Sarah gets in the car, locks the doors, sits in the darkness for 10 seconds, just breathing. Then she starts the engine and drives. Her apartment is 20 minutes away in a neighborhood that's gentrifying slowly, coffee shops and dive bars coexisting in uneasy truce. She parks on the street, scans the area out of habit before getting out. Nothing obvious. But obvious is never the problem. The building is a converted warehouse, 4 floors of cramped studios populated mostly by students and service workers. Sarah's on the 3rd floor, corner unit. With fire escape access she's tested 3 times since moving in. She takes the stairs instead of the elevator, checking sight lines, listening for sounds that don't fit. Her door is exactly as she left it. The piece of tape she places at knee height is intact. The hair wedged in the hinge is still there. Inside, the apartment is small, sparse. IKEA furniture, second-hand kitchen table, no photos on the walls. She's been here 5 years, and it looks like she could leave in 10 minutes, because she always knew she might have to. Sarah locks the door, engages the deadbolt, checks the fire escape window. Then she strips off her bloody scrubs, throws them in the trash, no point trying to salvage them, and stands under a scalding shower until her skin turns pink. The bandage on her arm stays dry, wrapped in plastic. The stitches underneath throb in steady rhythm. When she gets out, she wraps herself in a towel and sits on the edge of her bed, staring at nothing. Her phone is buzzing, more messages, more calls. She ignores them all except one. A text from an unknown number, just 2 words. Check email. Sarah opens her laptop. The email is there. No subject line, sent from an encrypted address. Inside is a video file. She almost doesn't click it. Almost deletes the whole thing and throws the laptop out the window. But something stops her. The same instinct that made her pull the fire alarm, fight the extraction team, stop pretending she's someone else. The video loads. It's footage from a security camera, but not from the hospital. This is somewhere else, a warehouse maybe, or a storage facility. The timestamp shows yesterday, late afternoon. A man enters the frame. White, 50s, expensive suit. He's talking to someone off camera, gesturing. The audio is muffled, but she can make out pieces. Mitchell problem. Eliminate before she talks. Make it look random. The man's face is clear for just 3 seconds. Long enough for Sarah to recognize him. Richard Brennan, hospital administrator. The man who signs her paychecks. Sarah closes the laptop, sits in the dark, thinks. Brennan is connected. Has to be. He would have known Miguel Reyes was in the secure unit, would have had access to security protocols, staff schedules, everything the extraction team needed. And if he's involved with Volkov's network, then tonight wasn't just a failed operation. It was a declaration of war against someone who got in the way. Her phone rings. Not a number she recognizes, but she answers anyway. What? Sarah Mitchell? The voice is female, young, scared. My name is Alicia Reyes. Miguel is my brother. The agent said, they said you saved him. Sarah's grip tightens on the phone. I didn't do anything. You stopped them from taking him. The agent said if you hadn't been there, Alicia's voice cracks. He's all I have. Our parents are gone. If Volkov's people got him, I'd never see him again. Your brother needs to testify. That's the only way this ends. He's terrified. They told him what happens to witnesses, how Volkov's people find them, even in protective custody. A pause. But he said if someone like you is willing to fight them, maybe there's a chance. Sarah closes her eyes. She doesn't want this. Didn't ask for it. Just wanted to finish her shift and go home and keep pretending the last 4 years meant something. Tell your brother to trust the agents, she says finally. They'll keep him safe. They couldn't keep him safe tonight. Alicia's voice hardens. You did that. So maybe you could do it again? I'm a nurse. You're a lot more than that. The line goes quiet for a moment. The agents showed me the footage, the way you moved, the things you knew. That's not nursing. That's something else. Another pause. My brother needs someone like you, not agents in suits making promises. Someone who actually knows how to fight. Sarah wants to say no, wants to hang up and block the number and go back to being invisible. But the words won't come. Because Alicia's right. The agents couldn't stop the extraction. The security couldn't stop it. Even the police response barely contained it. She stopped it, alone, because she saw the patterns and knew the tactics and refused to look away. I can't help you, Sarah says. But even she doesn't believe it anymore. Then they'll come for him again. And next time, maybe you won't be there. Alicia's breathing is unsteady. Please, I know I have no right to ask, but he's 19. He made one mistake, saw something he shouldn't have, and now people want to kill him. If you can do anything. The line goes dead. Sarah sits holding the phone, listening to silence. Outside, Portland traffic hums. A siren wails somewhere in the distance. Normal city sounds. Normal night. Except nothing's normal anymore. She gets dressed, jeans, dark shirt, boots, pulls her hair back, checks the fire escape one more time, then grabs her jacket and keys. She's halfway to the door when someone knocks. 3 sharp raps. Deliberate. Not aggressive, but firm enough to be official. Sarah approaches the peephole, angles to see without silhouetting herself. Agent Reeves is standing in the hallway, alone, looking tired. She opens the door but leaves the chain engaged. It's 3 a.m. I know. Can I come in? No. Reeves sighs. Sarah, we need to talk about what happens next. I gave my statement to the police. Everything else is classified and you know it. I'm not here about the operation. He glances down the hallway, checking if anyone's listening. I'm here because Richard Brennan just tried to leave the country. TSA flagged him at PDX 20 minutes ago. We have him in custody, but he's lawyered up and not talking. Sarah processes that. Brennan ran, which means he knows they're coming for him, knows the investigation is closing in. So arrest him. For what? We have surveillance footage of him talking to people. That's not evidence of conspiracy. Reeves leans against the doorframe. But if we could connect him to the extraction team, prove he provided intel to Volkov's network, that's a case. That's federal trafficking charges, organized crime enhancements, the whole package. And you want me to what? Testify? I want you to help us build the case. You know how these operations work. You've seen the pieces. He meets her eyes. And you're the only person who connected the dots fast enough to stop it. Sarah almost laughs. I'm a liability. Every move I made tonight was illegal. Breaking into the security office, accessing the cameras, pulling that fire alarm without authorization. Any defense attorney will shred your case. Not if you were acting as a federal consultant. Reeves pulls out a folded document. I can deputize you retroactively. Make everything you did tonight part of an ongoing investigation. Legal, justified, covered. In exchange for what? Help us take down Brennan. And through him, the Volkov network. His voice drops. Sarah, you stopped one extraction. But Volkov runs dozens a year. Kids like Miguel disappear into trafficking pipelines, forced labor, worse. And people like Brennan make it possible by compromising security, providing access, looking the other way. That's your job, not mine. My job is investigation and prosecution. Your job. He hesitates, choosing words carefully. Your job used to be finding people who couldn't be found, taking down networks that operated off the grid, making the impossible happen. Sarah stares at him. That was a long time ago. 6 years, and from what I saw tonight, you haven't lost a step. Reeves slides the document through the gap in the door. Read it, think about it, but decide fast, because Brennan's lawyer is already pushing for bail, and we have maybe 48 hours before he walks. And if he walks, then he disappears. Volkov extracts him, relocates him somewhere we can't touch, and the network keeps operating. Reeves turns to leave, then stops. Oh, and Sarah, the price on your head just went up to $75,000. Volkov's serious about making an example of you. He walks away down the hall. Sarah closes the door, engages every lock, then unfolds the document. It's a consultant agreement, standard federal contract language, liability waivers, non-disclosure clauses. At the bottom, a signature line. She sets it on the kitchen counter. Doesn't sign it. Not yet. Her phone buzzes again, another text from the encrypted number. Brennan's just the start. Check your door. Sarah freezes. Checks the peephole again. Hallway's empty. She looks down. There's a manila envelope on the floor, slipped under the door while she was talking to Reeves. She picks it up carefully, checking for weight, smell, anything off. Nothing obvious. Inside are photographs. Lots of them. The first shows Richard Brennan meeting with the extraction team leader in what looks like a parking garage. The second shows money changing hands. The third shows documents, hospital security protocols, staff schedules, Miguel's placement in room 317. The photos are professional-grade surveillance. Someone's been watching Brennan for weeks, documenting everything, building a case outside official channels. The last photo is different. It's Sarah, sitting in her car outside the hospital, talking to Devin Pierce. The angle suggests it was taken from a rooftop. Long lens. Whoever's watching isn't just tracking Brennan. They're tracking her. A note is paperclipped to the back. You're not the only one hunting. We need to talk. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Powell's Books, Blue Room. Come alone. Sarah spreads the photos across her counter. Stares at the evidence, the connections, the conspiracy that's bigger than one failed extraction. Brennan's compromised. Volkov's network is active. And someone else is operating in the shadows, building a case, pulling strings. She thinks about Alicia's call, Miguel's testimony, the video of Brennan ordering her death, the price on her head climbing with each hour, the consultant agreement waiting for her signature. 4 years ago, she walked away from this life because the choices were too hard, the cost too high, the weight of it crushing. She wanted safety, normalcy, a life where the hardest decision was which vein to find for an IV, but safety was always an illusion, and tonight proved she can't hide from what she is. Sarah picks up her phone, scrolls to Devin Pierce's number. Her thumb hovers over the call button. One tap and she's back in, working with private contractors, operating off the books, becoming the thing she swore she'd left behind. She puts the phone down, picks up Reeves's document instead. Federal consultant, legal authority, rules and oversight and official channels. The right way to do this. Except the right way got Miguel nearly extracted. The right way couldn't stop Brennan. The right way is slow, bureaucratic, full of gaps where people like Volkov slip through. Her arm throbs where the stitches pull tight. She can still smell the gunpowder from the third-floor firefight, still feel the knife cutting through her skin, still hear Alicia's voice. Maybe you could do it again? Sarah stands in her kitchen at 4 in the morning, surrounded by evidence of a conspiracy, hunted by a trafficking network, pulled between federal agents and private operators and mysterious surveillance teams. Every instinct says run, disappear again, find a new city, a new hospital, a new identity. But she's done running. She signs Reeves's document, folds it carefully. Then she opens her laptop and books a gun range appointment for 7 a.m. She needs to know if 4 years of bedside manner has ruined her muscle memory. After that, she pulls up everything she can find on Volkov's network. Operations, structure, known associates, and Richard Brennan's entire life, finances, connections, properties, everything public records can provide. The sun is starting to rise when she finally stops, her eyes burning, her injured arm aching. She's filled 3 notebooks with details, mapped relationships, identified vulnerabilities. It's not complete, nowhere close, but it's a start. Her phone buzzes one last time. Another text from the encrypted number. Smart girl, see you at Powell's. And Sarah? Don't trust the feds, they're not telling you everything. She deletes it, doesn't respond, just sits in the growing light and thinks about the meeting ahead, the decisions waiting, the war she just volunteered for. Because somewhere in Portland, Richard Brennan is sitting in federal custody, calling in favors, planning his escape. Miguel Reyes is terrified in a safe house, wondering if testimony is worth dying for. Volkov's network is regrouping, preparing their next move. And Sarah Mitchell, invisible nurse, ghost operator, woman who tried to disappear, just painted a target on herself big enough to see from space. The apartment is quiet except for the sound of her breathing. Outside, the city wakes up. Traffic increases. People start their normal days, unaware of the battles being fought in the shadows. Sarah checks her watch. 5 hours until Powell's. 3 hours until the range. 2 hours until she needs to face Patricia and explain why she's not staying home like she was told. She makes coffee. Strong and black. Drinks it standing by the window, watching the street below for patterns, movements, threats. Nothing obvious. But obvious is never the problem. Her reflection stares back from the glass. Tired eyes, bandaged arm, the face of someone who just stepped off a cliff. She looks the same as yesterday. Same as 5 years ago when she first put on scrubs and swore she'd never fight again. But everything's different now. Because the woman staring back isn't hiding anymore. And whoever comes looking for her, Volkov's assassins, Brennan's allies, the mysterious surveillance team, they're about to learn what happens when you back a trained operator into a corner. Sarah finishes her coffee, sets the cup down, heads to her bedroom to prepare for war. The hospital thinks she's a nurse. The feds think she's a consultant. Volkov thinks she's a target. They're all about to find out what she really is, and it won't be pretty. The shooting range smells like copper and gunpowder and old sweat. Sarah rents a Glock 19, standard service weapon, nothing fancy, and takes lane 7 at the far end where the wall absorbs sound better. The rangemaster barely looks at her. Just another customer at 7 a.m. on a Thursday. She loads the magazine with practiced efficiency. 15 rounds. Checks the chamber. Flicks off the safety. Her hands remember the weight, the balance, the slight forward pull that means you're gripping too tight. First shot goes wide left. Second clips the edge of the target. Third misses completely. 4 years is a long time. She adjusts her stance, relaxes her shoulders, breathes through the next 5 rounds. The grouping tightens. Not perfect, nowhere close to what she could do in Kandahar, but adequate. She'll live through a firefight if it comes to that. The thought sits heavy in her chest. 24 hours ago, her biggest concern was restocking the crash cart. Now she's at a range testing muscle memory because there's a price on her head and people who want her dead. She empties 2 more magazines. The last grouping is tight, centered mass, exactly where she aimed. Good enough. When she gets back to her car, there's a black sedan parked 3 spaces down. Tinted windows. Engine running. Sarah doesn't look directly at it, just adjusts her rearview mirror and catches the reflection. 2 figures in front seats. Watching. She starts her engine, pulls out slow. The sedan follows. Not subtle. Not trying to be. That's a message. We know where you are. We're not hiding, and there's nothing you can do about it. Sarah takes surface streets instead of the highway. The sedan stays 2 cars back, patient. She runs a yellow light at Burnside. They run the red, still following. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She answers on speaker. What? Miss Mitchell. The voice is male, Eastern European accent, calm. You're being followed by my associates. Don't be alarmed. They're simply ensuring you arrive at your destination safely. Which destination? Powell's Books. 10 a.m. You have a meeting, yes? A pause. We thought it best to make sure you attend. The streets can be dangerous. Sarah's hands tighten on the wheel. Who is this? Someone who shares your interest in Richard Brennan and in keeping certain witnesses alive. The voice smooths out, almost friendly. We're not your enemies, Miss Mitchell. In fact, we may be the only allies you have left. I don't work with people I can't see. You will, soon. The line goes dead. Sarah checks the mirror. The sedan is still there, keeping pace. She considers running, losing them in traffic, doubling back, disappearing. But that would mean missing the meeting at Powell's, missing whoever sent the photos, missing the chance to understand what she's actually up against. So she drives to the bookstore, parks on the street, and walks inside with an armed escort she can't shake. Powell's City of Books is a Portland institution, blocks of shelves, multiple floors, the kind of place where you can disappear into literature and never come out. The Blue Room is on the 3rd floor, dedicated to art and architecture. At 10 a.m. on a Thursday, it's nearly empty. Sarah scans the space. 3 customers browsing, 1 employee shelving books, and in the back corner, sitting at a small table with a coffee and a closed laptop, a woman in her 40s with short gray hair and the kind of still alertness Sarah recognizes. Former intelligence. Has to be. The woman looks up as Sarah approaches. You came armed. Sarah stops. Excuse me? Ankle holster. You're favoring your right leg slightly. The woman gestures to the chair across from her. Sit. We have about 15 minutes before Volkov's people get impatient. Sarah doesn't sit. Who are you? Catherine Wade. I run an investigative journalism outfit that specializes in trafficking networks. She opens the laptop, turns it so Sarah can see the screen. It's a database. Names, photos, connections mapped out like a spider web. I've been tracking Volkov for 3 years, got close twice. Both times witnesses disappeared before they could testify. That's not journalism. No, it's war. Catherine's expression doesn't change, and you just enlisted whether you meant to or not. Sarah pulls out the chair, sits. Her arm throbs where the stitches pull. You sent the photos. I've been documenting Brennan's involvement for 6 months, watching his meetings, tracking his contacts, building evidence. Catherine taps the keyboard, brings up more files. But evidence only matters if someone's alive to present it. Miguel Reyes is the first witness who survived long enough to be a threat. Because I stopped the extraction. Because you acted when everyone else froze. Catherine closes the laptop. The feds are playing catch-up. They didn't know Brennan was compromised until you forced their hand. And now they're scrambling to build a case before he walks. Reeves said 48 hours. Reeves is optimistic. Brennan's lawyer is already pushing the judge, claiming insufficient evidence for detention. Catherine leans forward. He'll be out by tomorrow morning, and the first thing he'll do is run. Sarah processes that. Brennan walks. He disappears. The case collapses. Miguel's testimony becomes worthless, and whoever's pulling strings behind Volkov's network stays protected, so stop him from running. With what authority? I'm a journalist. Reeves is bound by legal process. But you... Catherine's eyes narrow. You're a federal consultant now, which means you have access, resources, latitude. You can move in ways we can't. I signed that contract 3 hours ago. I don't have authority for anything. You have enough. Catherine slides a flash drive across the table. Everything I have on Brennan, financial records, communications, offshore accounts. It's not admissible in court. I obtained most of it through methods that would get a prosecutor disbarred, but it'll tell you where he's planning to run. Sarah stares at the drive. Doesn't touch it. Why give this to me? Because you're the only person who's proven they'll actually do something. Catherine's voice drops. The feds want a conviction. I want the story. But you? You just want to keep people alive. That makes you dangerous and useful. I'm a nurse. You were. Now, you're something else. Catherine stands. Brennan has a property in Costa Rica. No extradition treaty. If he makes it there, we lose him. So either you stop him in the next 30 hours, or this whole thing was for nothing. She walks away, leaving the flash drive on the table. Sarah watches her disappear into the stacks, then pockets the drive. Her phone buzzes. A text from Reeves. Need to see you. Federal Building, noon, not optional. Sarah checks her watch. 2 hours. She stands, heads for the exit, scanning for threats out of habit. The sedan is still parked outside, visible through the front windows. The two figures haven't moved. She steps onto the sidewalk. The sedan's back door opens. A man gets out, late 50s, white, expensive suit, the kind of polished appearance that comes from money and power. He approaches with no visible weapons, hands relaxed, but Sarah recognizes the type. Not muscle. Management. Miss Mitchell, a moment of your time. Sarah doesn't stop walking. Not interested. I represent certain parties who are concerned about recent events. He falls into step beside her, matching her pace. The incident at Mercy General, the attention it's generated, the complications it's created for ongoing operations. Tell your parties they should have thought about that before trying to extract a federal witness. But that's the issue. The man's tone stays pleasant, conversational. Mr. Reyes isn't a federal witness yet. He hasn't testified, hasn't given a formal statement. He's simply a young man who made unfortunate choices and found himself in an unfortunate situation. Sarah reaches her car, unlocks it. Get to the point. The point is that situations can be resolved. Mr. Reyes could reconsider his cooperation, decide that testifying isn't in his best interest, and in exchange, certain parties would be willing to overlook recent complications. You mean they'd cancel the contract on me? Among other considerations. The man straightens his tie. You'd be able to return to your life, your nursing career, the quiet existence you've cultivated. All you have to do is convince Mr. Reyes to remain silent. Sarah turns to face him. And if I don't? Then the complications continue. The contract stands and escalates. His pleasant expression doesn't change. We're not unreasonable people, Miss Mitchell, but we are thorough. You've made yourself visible. That visibility has consequences. Tell your people to come for me themselves. Stop hiding behind lawyers and phone calls. We're not hiding, we're offering you a choice. He hands her a business card, blank except for a phone number. 24 hours. After that, the offer expires. He walks back to the sedan. It pulls away smooth, disappears into traffic. Sarah stands in the parking lot holding the card, her heart rate elevated but her hands steady. 24 hours to convince Miguel to stay silent, to throw away the only leverage the feds have, to let Brennan and Volkov and everyone involved walk free. She tears the card in half, drops the pieces in a storm drain, then she drives to the federal building. Agent Reeves is waiting in a conference room on the 3rd floor, surrounded by files and laptop screens and the scattered evidence of a case being built at emergency speed. He looks like he hasn't slept. Tie loose, sleeves rolled up, coffee ring stains on the folders. Brennan's lawyer filed a motion to suppress, he says before Sarah even sits down, claiming the detention is based on illegally obtained surveillance. If the judge agrees, he walks this afternoon. Sarah sets the flash drive on the table. Catherine Wade gave me this. Financial records, communications, offshore accounts, everything you need to prove Brennan's connected to Volkov. Reeves picks up the drive like it might explode. How did Wade obtain this? Does it matter? If it's fruit of an illegal search, I can't use it. Defense will have it thrown out before I finish introducing it. Then don't use it in court. Use it to find something you can use. Sarah leans forward. Wade says Brennan has a property in Costa Rica. If he's planning to run, that's where he's going. You track his travel arrangements, his financial transfers. You've got evidence of flight risk. That's admissible. Reeves stares at her. You've been a consultant for 3 hours and you're already running Black Ops intel? I'm doing what you asked, building the case. I asked you to help with tactical analysis, not play investigative journalist with a vigilante reporter. He runs his hand through his hair. Sarah, this is exactly the kind of thing that gets cases dismissed. Chain of custody matters. Legal process matters. Miguel Reyes matters. Sarah cuts him off. His sister called me last night, begging me to help because the feds couldn't protect him. And she's right, you couldn't. The extraction almost worked. If I hadn't been there, he'd be gone. We would have responded. 20 minutes too late. You know it, and I know it. She stands. So either you use what I'm giving you, or Brennan walks and Volkov wins and Miguel dies. Your choice. Reeves is silent for a long moment. Then he inserts the flash drive, opens the files. His expression shifts as he reads. Disbelief, then anger, then cold calculation. This is extensive. Wade's been sitting on this for months? Building her story, waiting for the right moment. Sarah watches him scroll through documents. She can't use it without exposing her sources. But you can, if you're willing to bend the rules. Bending rules is how we lose cases. Following rules is how witnesses die. He closes the laptop, meets her eyes. You sound like someone who's done this before. I sound like someone who's tired of watching people hide behind process while kids get trafficked. Sarah heads for the door. You've got 30 hours before Brennan walks. Use them. She's halfway down the corridor when Reeves calls after her. Sarah, the price on your head just hit 100,000, and we intercepted chatter suggesting they're bringing in specialists. She doesn't turn around. Let them come. But her hands are shaking again as she takes the stairs down, and by the time she reaches her car, she has to sit for a minute just breathing. $100,000. Specialists. That's not street-level muscle. That's professionals. The kind who don't miss. Her phone rings. Patricia. Sarah, honey, where are you? Running errands. Why? Because Castellano's asking questions. Wants to know why you're not on medical leave. And administration is requesting a formal meeting about last night's incident. Patricia's voice is tight with stress. They're talking about suspension pending investigation. Let them talk. Sarah, this is serious. They're saying you violated protocols, endangered patients, exceeded your authority. If you don't come in and deal with this, they'll terminate you. Sarah closes her eyes. 4 years of invisible nursing, erased in one night. Tell them I'll be there tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. It'll have to be. Sarah ends the call. She drives to a coffee shop 3 blocks away, orders something she doesn't drink, and sits in the corner with the flash drive contents loaded on her laptop. Catherine Wade's investigation is thorough, more thorough than the federal case. Bank transfers, encrypted communications, property records in 7 countries. Brennan didn't just compromise security at Mercy General. He's been facilitating Volkov's operations for years, and the money trail leads higher, past Brennan, past Volkov, to someone inside law enforcement, someone with access to witness protection protocols, federal case files, classified operational details. Sarah stares at the name on the screen. Deputy U.S. Marshal James Corrigan, 20-year veteran, decorated service record, currently assigned to the Witness Security Division. He's the leak. Has to be. Every witness who disappeared, every extraction that succeeded. Corrigan would have had access to their locations, their security details, their vulnerabilities. Her phone buzzes. Text from Devin Pierce. Need to talk. Now. Your location's compromised. She looks up. Through the coffee shop window, she sees a white panel van parked across the street. Engine running, 2 figures in the front seats. Not the same sedan from this morning. Different team. Sarah closes her laptop, stands, walks calmly toward the back exit. The barista glances at her but doesn't speak. Just another customer leaving their coffee behind. Sarah reaches the rear door, pushes through into an alley. The van's back doors are already open. 3 men in tactical gear, moving fast. Sarah runs. Doesn't think, just moves. The alley dead ends at a fence, 8 feet, chain link, topped with barbed wire. She hits it at full speed, scrambles up, ignores the tearing pain in her injured arm as she pulls herself over. Lands hard on the other side in a loading dock area behind a restaurant. The men are right behind her, faster than she expected. Better trained. She sprints through the loading dock, past startled kitchen staff, through the restaurant dining room. Customers scatter. Someone screams. Sarah hits the front door, bursts onto a busy street. Traffic, pedestrians, witnesses. The men slow down. Can't operate openly with this many eyes, but they don't stop. Just fan out, tracking her movement, waiting for an opening. Sarah cuts into a parking garage, takes the stairs up 3 levels, breath burning in her lungs. She can hear them behind her, boots on concrete, radios crackling, professional, coordinated. They've done this before. She reaches level 3. Rows of parked cars, no exit except back the way she came or up to the roof. She's trapped. Then she sees it, a silver Camry with the driver's window cracked open. She checks the door. Unlocked. Stupid, but lucky. She gets in, checks the visor. No keys. But the car's old enough that hot wiring is possible if she had time. The passenger door opens. Devin Pierce slides in. Drive. I don't have keys. He tosses her a set. Found them on the sun visor while you were looking everywhere else. Go. Sarah starts the engine. The pursuing team is just reaching the level, spreading out. She reverses hard, clips a support column, shifts into drive. The Camry's not built for speed, but it moves. She takes the exit ramp down too fast, tires screaming, and blasts through the payment gate without stopping. Pierce is watching the side mirror. They're not following. Must have gotten what they needed. What does that mean? Means they were tracking you, not trying to grab you. Testing your response time, your tactics. He looks at her. They're building a profile, figuring out how hard you'll be to kill. Sarah's hands are white-knuckled on the wheel. How did you find me? I've been monitoring federal communications since last night. When Wade made contact, I flagged it. When you left the coffee shop, I moved. He pulls out his phone, shows her a tracking map. Your car's been tagged. 3 different devices. One from the feds, one from Volkov's people, one I don't recognize. So everyone knows where I am. Everyone knew where you were. Right now you're in a borrowed car with no tail. He gestures toward an industrial area ahead. Pull in there. We need to talk without an audience. Sarah takes the turn. The Camry rattles over potholes into a warehouse district that looks abandoned. Pierce directs her to a building with a loading bay, gestures for her to park inside. The space is dark, cold, smells like mildew and rust. Your cover's completely blown, Pierce says as they get out. Federal consultant status won't protect you. Volkov's bringing in a cleaner, someone who specializes in making problems disappear. You've got maybe 12 hours before they make their move. Then I need to move first. Doing what? You don't have resources, backup, or time. And the feds won't help because officially they can't sanction offensive operations. He leans against the car. But I can. Sarah studies him. In exchange for what? Information, Wade's investigation, the flash drive you got this morning. His expression hardens. I need to know who Corrigan's working with, how deep the corruption goes. Because if a deputy U.S. Marshal is compromised, the whole witness protection system is burned. How do you know about Corrigan? Same way I knew about Brennan. Same way I know Volkov's network is bigger than anyone's admitting. Mospas. Pierce pulls out a tablet, shows her a map of the United States with red dots scattered across it. Each dot is a witness who disappeared, 23 in the last 5 years. All supposedly in federal protection, all vanished within weeks of agreeing to testify. Sarah stares at the pattern. It's not random. It's systematic. You think it's all Corrigan? I think Corrigan's one node in a network that spans multiple agencies, marshals, FBI, local police. Someone's running an operation inside law enforcement, feeding witness locations to trafficking networks in exchange for... He trails off. We don't know yet. Money, probably, but maybe something else. And you want me to help you expose it. I want you to survive long enough that exposure matters. He closes the tablet. Right now you're a loose end. You stopped an extraction, exposed Brennan, drew attention to the whole system. They need you gone before you connect more dots. Sarah's phone rings. She checks the screen. Alicia Reyes. She answers. What's wrong? They moved Miguel. Alicia's voice is panicked. The marshals came an hour ago. Said it wasn't safe where he was. They took him and won't tell me where. Did they say why? Security protocol. But Sarah, one of the marshals, I recognized him from the hospital. He was there during the extraction, in the hallway, watching. Sarah's blood goes cold. Describe him. Tall, white, 50s, had a scar on his left hand. That's Corrigan. She saw him in the security footage from Wade's files. Same description, same scar. Alicia, listen to me. Your brother is in danger, real danger. The marshal who took him is compromised. What do you mean, compromised? I mean, he's working for the people who tried to extract Miguel, and now he has him. Sarah's mind races. Where did they take him? I don't know. They wouldn't say. Just that it was secure and I couldn't have contact for 48 hours. 48 hours. Long enough to move Miguel out of federal jurisdiction. Long enough to make him disappear. Long enough that by the time anyone realizes what happened, he'll be gone. I'll find him, Sarah says. Stay by your phone. She ends the call. Looks at Pierce. Corrigan just took Miguel. We need to find him before the extraction happens. We? Pierce raises an eyebrow. Thought you were just a consultant. I'm whatever keeps that kid alive. Sarah pulls out her laptop, loads the flash drive files. Wade's investigation has to include Corrigan's movements, his properties, his known associates. If we can track where he'd take a witness, federal safe houses are classified. We don't have access. Then we make access. Sarah scrolls through documents, searching for patterns, financial records, travel logs, fuel receipts. Somewhere in this data is a trail. Corrigan's been moving witnesses for years. He has routines, preferred locations. And if he's planning an extraction, he'll need somewhere remote, somewhere Volkov's people can operate without witnesses. Pierce pulls up his own tablet, starts cross-referencing. There. Corrigan filed travel vouchers 3 times in the last year to the same location, Tillamook County, coast property. Officially listed as a federal training facility, but there's no active operations there. How far? Hour and a half. Maybe 2 in traffic. He looks at her. You're really doing this, confronting a federal marshal with no backup and no authority. I'm stopping an extraction. Sarah closes the laptop. You coming or not? Pierce considers. Then he moves to the back of the warehouse, pulls a tarp off something large. It's a black SUV, commercial, reinforced, the kind private security firms use. We go heavy, full tactical load, because if Corrigan's there, Volkov's people won't be far behind. He opens the rear hatch. Inside are weapons, lots of them. Rifles, handguns, body armor, communication equipment, not civilian gear, military-grade hardware. Sarah stares at the arsenal. This is the line. Once she crosses it, there's no going back to bedside nursing. No pretending she's just a consultant. She'll be an operator again, everything she ran from. But Miguel's running out of time, and nobody else is moving fast enough to save him. She reaches for a vest, straps it on, checks the fit. It's heavy, familiar, like putting on an old uniform. Pierce hands her a rifle, compact, modern, zeroed for close quarters. She checks the action, loads a magazine. The movements are automatic. You're sure about this? Pierce asks. Sarah thinks about Alicia's voice, Miguel's terrified face in the hospital bed, the price of doing nothing. I'm sure. They load the SUV. Check equipment. Run through tactical protocols in abbreviated shorthand, entry points, fields of fire, communication signals. It's been 4 years, but the language comes back instantly, like riding a bike. Except the bike is armed and people will die. They're 20 minutes out when Sarah's phone rings again. Reeves. Where are you? His voice is tight. Following a lead. Brennan's lawyer just got him released. Judge bought the insufficient evidence argument. He's out. Sarah's grip tightens on the phone. You have to stop him. With what? We can't detain him without charges, and we don't have enough for an indictment yet. He's already left the courthouse. Reeves pauses. Sarah, we lost. Brennan's going to run, and we can't stop him legally. Then stop him illegally. I can't do that. But I can. Sarah looks at Pierce. He nods, already understanding. Brennan's headed to the airport, Costa Rica. Catherine Wade has the flight details in her files. If someone happened to intercept him before he boards, Sarah, you can't. I'm not asking permission. She ends the call. Pierce is already on his phone, coordinating. I've got people at PDX. If Brennan shows, they'll delay him. But that buys you maybe an hour before his lawyers raise hell. An hour's enough? Just get me to Corrigan. They drive in silence, pushing speed limits on the coast highway. The ocean appears on the left, gray, cold, crashing against black rocks, beautiful and brutal. Sarah watches it through the window and thinks about how many choices brought her here. Every decision, every compromise, every time she told herself she was done fighting, all leading to this moment, armed, chasing a corrupt marshal, preparing to storm a federal safe house. Her phone buzzes, text from an unknown number. Nice try, but Miguel's already gone. You're too late. Sarah shows it to Pierce. He reads, his jaw tight. Could be disinformation, trying to make you hesitate. Or it's true. And we're driving into an ambush. Sarah checks her weapon. Either way, we don't stop. The property appears ahead, isolated, surrounded by dense forest, single access road. The gate is closed, but not locked. Pierce cuts the engine a half-mile out. They approach on foot, moving through trees, silent. The safe house is a converted ranger station. One main building, two outbuildings, cleared perimeter. One vehicle in the driveway, a federal sedan, lights on inside. Pierce scans with binoculars. Movement in the main building, 2 figures, maybe 3. Miguel? Can't tell. He lowers the binoculars. This is it. You sure? Sarah thinks about turning back, about calling Reeves, about doing this the right way, through channels, legally. Then she thinks about 23 red dots on a map, 23 witnesses who trusted the system and disappeared. She chambers around. I'm sure. They move toward the house, covering angles, scanning for threats. No exterior guards. No security cameras visible. Too quiet. Pierce reaches the door first, tests the handle. Unlocked. He looks at Sarah. She nods. He pushes through. Sarah follows, rifle up, clearing corners. The interior is standard federal issue, sparse furniture, reinforced walls, emergency supplies. And in the center of the main room, sitting calm at a table, Deputy U.S. Marshal James Corrigan, alone. Wondered when you'd show up, he says. His weapon is holstered, hands visible, non-threatening. You're more predictable than you think, Miss Mitchell. Sarah keeps her rifle trained. Where's Miguel? Secure, safe, exactly where he should be. Corrigan stands slowly. You've made a lot of assumptions, connected dots that don't actually connect, and now you're here, pointing weapons at a federal officer. That's a felony. Multiple felonies. You're working for Volkov. I'm working for the United States Marshals Service. Have been for 20 years. He takes a step forward. Sarah doesn't lower her weapon. You want to know what happened to those witnesses? They got relocated. New identities, new lives. That's how the system works. 23 people don't just disappear. They disappear because that's the point. Witness protection means vanishing, becoming someone else. We don't advertise success stories. His voice is calm, reasonable. Catherine Wade built a conspiracy theory out of routine operations. And you bought it. Pierce moves to the side, covering another angle. Then why did you move Miguel tonight? Because there was a credible threat. Because someone, he looks at Sarah, painted a target on him by stopping the extraction. Volkov's network knows he's important now, so we moved him. Standard protocol. Sarah's finger hovers over the trigger. You were at the hospital during the extraction. Conducting surveillance on a protected witness, which is my job. Corrigan spreads his hands. Look, I get it. You're former military. You see patterns. You trust your instincts. But this time your instincts are wrong. There's no conspiracy, no corruption, just a system trying to protect people while someone crashes in and makes everything harder. Brennan was released an hour ago. Because the evidence wasn't sufficient. That's not corruption. That's law. Corrigan's expression doesn't change. You want to help? Put down the weapons. Stop interfering. Let us do our jobs. Sarah's head is spinning. He sounds right. Looks right. Every detail of his story fits. And she's standing here with an illegally obtained weapon, threatening a federal officer based on circumstantial evidence and a journalist's investigation. Pierce catches her eye. Shakes his head slightly. Don't believe him. But Sarah's not sure what she believes anymore. 4 years of trying to see patterns. 4 years of instincts that kept her alive, all screaming that Corrigan's lying, and nothing concrete to prove it. "Where's Miguel?" she asks again. "Prove he's safe." Corrigan reaches for his phone, slowly. "I'll call the secure facility. You can hear his voice yourself." He dials, puts it on speaker. It rings 4 times. Then someone answers. Young voice, scared. "Hello? Miguel? It's Marshal Corrigan. I have someone here who wants to confirm you're safe." "Yeah, I'm okay. Who?" "Your sister was worried. This is Sarah Mitchell, the nurse from the hospital." Static. Then, "Sarah, they said you were trying to help. Are you?" Gunshot. Single report. The phone goes dead. Corrigan's expression doesn't change. He just stands there, phone in hand, looking at Sarah. "Congratulations. You just got him killed." Sarah's world inverts. The rifle drops. Pierce is shouting something, but it sounds underwater because she heard it, the shot. Miguel's voice cutting off, the silence after. Then Corrigan moves, fast. His weapon comes up, aimed at Pierce. "Drop it." But Pierce doesn't. They're frozen, weapons trained, Sarah in the middle trying to process what just happened. "That was the extraction," Corrigan says. "Planned for tonight, except you triggered it early by showing up here. So Volkov's people called an audible. Killed the witness instead of extracting him." He doesn't blink. "That's on you, Mitchell, you and your conspiracy theories." "You set us up." Sarah's voice is hollow. "I did my job. Protected a witness until outside interference made that impossible." He gestures with his weapon. "Now you're going to put down your weapons and come with me. Both of you. Federal custody. Charges pending." Pierce's finger is on the trigger. Sarah can see the calculation in his eyes. He can take Corrigan. Maybe. 50-50. But it means a shootout in a federal safe house. And even if they win, they're fugitives. "Don't," Corrigan says, reading the same calculation. "You shoot a federal marshal, there's no coming back from that. You'll be hunted for the rest of your life." Sarah's thinking about Miguel's voice, the gunshot, Alicia's call tomorrow when she finds out her brother's dead. And she's thinking about the pattern, 23 red dots, the convenience of a call at exactly the right moment, the perfect timing of an execution. Corrigan's not wrong. He's performing. "Pierce," she says quietly, "lower your weapon." He stares at her. "Sarah, do it." Pierce lowers his rifle. Corrigan relaxes slightly, sensing victory. That's when Sarah moves. She's not going for Corrigan. She's going past him, toward the back room, because she saw something, a shadow under the door. Movement that doesn't match an empty building. She crashes through. The room beyond is empty except for a phone on the floor, still connected, still transmitting. And through the speaker, Miguel's voice. "Is it over? Did it work?" Sarah picks up the phone. "Miguel?" "Yeah, I'm sorry. The marshal said I had to do it. Make it sound real." I fired the gun into a pillow. Behind her, Corrigan is in the doorway. His weapon is still drawn, but his expression has shifted. The calm is gone. Now he just looks tired. "Clever," he says. "Figured you'd run. Most people do. You were testing me. Testing whether you'd break, whether you'd shoot a federal officer based on assumptions." He holsters his weapon. "You passed. Barely." Sarah's still holding the phone. So Miguel's alive. Under actual federal protection. Real safe house. Real security. Corrigan sits on the edge of a desk. "And Brennan's in custody. Been there for the last 20 minutes. We arrested him at the airport before his flight. Had enough evidence once Wade's files got us started. But you said..." "I said what you needed to hear to see how you'd react." He looks at Pierce. "Both of you. Because Wade's investigation was right. There is a leak. But it's not me. It's someone higher. And they're watching everyone involved in this case, including you. So we needed to know if you could be trusted. If you'd hold under pressure. If you'd kill when pushed." Sarah sets the phone down. Her hands are shaking. Not from fear. From rage. "You faked an execution to test us." I simulated a worst-case scenario to evaluate your threat assessment and judgment under stress. Corrigan stands. Military terminology, since you're familiar. And you passed. You didn't shoot. You investigated. That's what we needed to see. We? Pierce's voice is cold. Who's we? Corrigan walks to the window, looks out at the darkening forest. Joint Task Force, FBI, Marshals, DEA, working off books to identify the leak in federal witness protection. Catherine Wade's been feeding us intel while building her story. Reeves has been running the official investigation while we work the shadows. And you, he looks at Sarah, were the wild card, the operator nobody saw coming, the one who might actually be clean enough to help us finish this. Sarah's head is still spinning. So everything tonight was recruitment. Aggressive, yes, but necessary. Because the person running Volkov's network inside law enforcement is high enough that they'll see you coming if we use normal channels. We need someone expendable, someone off the books, someone already targeted. He pauses. Someone exactly like you. De Pierce lowers his rifle completely. You're asking us to be bait. I'm asking you to help us catch a traitor who's killed 23 witnesses and enabled trafficking operations across 6 states. Corrigan crosses his arms. Brennan's arrest will trigger a response. The leak will move to protect themselves. And when they do, we'll be watching. We'll see who reaches out, who tries to interfere, who makes contact with Volkov's people. But only if they believe the investigation is real and uncontrolled. And we're supposed to play what role? Sarah asks. The rogue operators who refuse to back off. The loose ends causing problems. He meets her eyes. You keep pushing, keep investigating, make noise. And when the leak tries to neutralize you, we close the trap. Sarah looks at Pierce. He's calculating, measuring risks. Then he looks back at Corrigan. And if the leak decides killing us is easier than containing us, then you'll have federal backup, surveillance, protection. Corrigan's voice hardens. But I won't lie. This is dangerous. The leak has resources, connections, reach. They've stayed hidden for years. They won't go quietly. Sarah thinks about the last 24 hours. The extraction, the firefight, the price on her head climbing, every step dragging her deeper into exactly what she ran from. But she also thinks about 23 red dots, Miguel's terrified voice, Alicia's desperation. I'm in, she says. Pierce looks at her like she's lost her mind. Maybe she has, but something about this feels right. Not safe. Right. Like she's finally stopped running toward something instead of away. You're insane, Pierce says. Probably. She looks at Corrigan. What do you need us to do? Corrigan pulls out a folder, opens it. Inside are photos of a man, early 60s, distinguished, wearing a federal badge. Deputy Director Marcus Hammond, FBI, 25 years. Currently oversees interagency cooperation on trafficking cases. Has access to every federal witness in the system. Wade's investigation suggested he's the leak, but we don't have proof. Just patterns. Coincidences. And you want us to find proof. I want you to make him expose himself, push hard enough that he has to act. Corrigan closes the folder. Brennan's arrest will worry him. He'll reach out to his contacts, cover his tracks. But if you keep investigating, keep threatening to uncover more, he'll have to stop you directly. And when he does, we'll have him. Sarah takes the folder, studies Hammond's face. He looks competent, professional, the kind of career federal agent who built a reputation on results. How do we push without getting killed? Carefully. Corrigan almost smiles. And with us watching your back, every step. Pierce shakes his head. This is how operations go bad. Too many layers, too many agendas. You have a better option? Corrigan asks. He doesn't. None of them do. This is the play. Risky, complicated, likely to explode. But it's the only way to actually stop Volkov's network, to protect future witnesses, to make sure Miguel's terror meant something. Sarah hands the folder to Pierce. We'll need Wade's full files, everything she has on Hammond, communications, travel, connections. Already compiled. I'll send it. Corrigan heads for the door. One more thing. The hit on you is real. 100,000 and climbing. You'll need to watch your back even with us running protection. Volkov's people don't know you're bait. They think you're a legitimate target. Good, Sarah says. Means they'll come, and when they do, we'll be ready. Corrigan pauses at the door. You were right to leave the service. This life, it doesn't end well. But since you're back in it, at least make it count. He leaves. Sarah and Pierce stand in the empty safe house, surrounded by the remains of a test they barely passed. You sure about this? Pierce asks. Sarah thinks about the answer, about safety versus purpose, about the nurse she tried to be and the operator she actually is. No, she admits, but I'm doing it anyway. They walk back to the SUV through darkening forest. The ocean crashes somewhere nearby, and Sarah's phone buzzes with an incoming file. Catherine Wade's complete investigation. Thousands of pages, years of work, all pointing to Hammond. She opens the first document, reads, and starts planning how to make a deputy FBI director desperate enough to reveal himself. Behind them, the safe house goes dark. The performance is over. The real operation is just beginning. And somewhere in Portland, Deputy Director Marcus Hammond is receiving a call that Richard Brennan has been arrested, that the Mitchell problem hasn't disappeared, that his carefully constructed network is starting to unravel. He hangs up the phone, makes another call, and sets in motion a response that will bring everything to a head. Because Sarah Mitchell just stopped being invisible. And that makes her the most dangerous person in the game. The first indication that Hammond knows comes 6 hours later. Sarah's in her apartment reviewing Wade's files when every light in the building cuts out. Not a power failure, selective, just her unit. The hallway stays lit. She's moving before conscious thought kicks in, grabs her go bag from under the bed, already packed. The fire escape window opens silently. She's oiled the hinges 3 times since moving in. She's halfway down the metal ladder when the apartment door splinters inward. 2 figures in tactical gear sweep through. Professional, fast. But they're clearing an empty space while Sarah drops to the alley below and disappears into Portland's night streets. Her phone buzzes. Pierce. Hammond just activated a priority warrant for your arrest. Federal fugitive. Armed and dangerous. Chassis. Aimpus. Sarah keeps walking, head down, blending with late-night pedestrians. On what grounds? Assault on a federal officer. Theft of classified documents. Conspiracy. Pierce's voice is tight. He's burning you before you can burn him. Corrigan says, hold position, don't engage, let the task force handle it. Where's Hammond now? Sarah? Where? A pause. Then, federal building. His office. But you can't just walk in. Building security will arrest you on sight. Sarah ends the call. Thinks. Hammond made his move fast. Too fast. That means he's scared. And scared people make mistakes. They consolidate. They reach out to assets. They try to control the situation, which means he's about to contact Volkov's network. Maybe already has. She needs to get ahead of it. The federal building is 20 blocks away. Sarah walks, staying off main streets, avoiding cameras where she can. Her mind runs scenarios. Hammond has authority, resources, the weight of federal law behind him. She has a go bag and a reputation that just got shredded. Not a fair fight, but fair fights are for people with options. She's 3 blocks out when a car pulls alongside her. Black sedan, tinted windows. The passenger window rolls down. Catherine Wade is driving. Get in. Sarah doesn't hesitate. Slides into the passenger seat. Wade pulls back into traffic smooth, unremarkable. Corrigan called me, said you wouldn't listen. Corrigan wants me to wait while Hammond covers his tracks. Corrigan wants you alive. Wade takes a turn, heading away from the federal building. Hammond's already spinning the narrative. By morning, every news outlet will be running your photo. Ex-military operative gone rogue, assault, theft, maybe terrorism if he's creative. Let him spin. We have evidence. We have patterns and correlations. Hammond has a badge and 25 years of credibility. Wade's hands are tight on the wheel. You walk into that building, you're done. He'll have you arrested, disappeared, or killed before you get past the lobby. Sarah watches the street slide by. Then I don't go through the lobby. Wade glances at her. What are you thinking? Hammond's scared enough to burn me publicly. That means he's making moves tonight, contacting people, securing assets. And when he does, he'll use secure communications, probably from his office where he knows the systems. You want to intercept his communications. I want to catch him in the act. Record him making contact with Volkov's people. That's not patterns. That's evidence. Sarah pulls out her phone, loads a building schematic she downloaded from city records. Federal building has maintenance access on the north side. Service corridors connect to the main floors. If I can get inside, you'll trip a dozen security measures and get shot. Not if someone creates a diversion. Sarah looks at Wade. How badly do you want this story? Wade is silent for a long moment. Then she makes a U-turn, heading back toward downtown. What kind of diversion? Sarah explains while Wade drives. It's risky, probably illegal, almost certainly career-ending for a journalist. But Wade doesn't hesitate, just nods, adjusts her plan, makes calls to people Sarah doesn't know. They park 2 blocks from the federal building. Wade hands Sarah a radio earpiece. You've got 20 minutes once I start. After that, security will lock down everything and you'll be trapped inside. 20 minutes is enough. Sarah. Wade's expression is serious. If you're wrong about Hammond, if he's not making contact tonight, this just makes you look guilty. Confirms his narrative. You'll be a fugitive for real. I'm not wrong. How do you know? Sarah thinks about the last 48 hours. The extraction. Brennan's release. Corrigan's test. Every move designed to pressure, to push, to force reactions. Because Hammond thinks I'm dangerous. And dangerous people don't wait. They act. He can't afford to let me keep digging. Wade checks her watch. 15 minutes. Starting now. She gets out of the car. Sarah waits 5 minutes, watching the street. Then she moves. The north side of the federal building is quiet, service entrance barely lit. Sarah picks the lock, basic pin tumbler, takes her 40 seconds. Inside, the corridor's concrete and fluorescent lights. She moves fast but controlled, checking corners, watching for cameras. The service elevator is exactly where the schematics showed. She takes it to the 7th floor, Hammond's office level. The doors open to another maintenance corridor. Empty. Quiet. Too quiet. She finds the access panel to the main floor, hesitates. Once she goes through, she's committed. No turning back. Federal trespass. Breaking and entering. Everything Hammond accused her of, she's about to make real. Her phone vibrates. Text from Pierce. Wade just triggered a fire alarm in the East Wing. Security's responding. Move. Sarah pushes through the panel. The 7th floor is bureaucratic elegance. Carpeted hallways, wood-paneled doors, photographs of federal officials lining the walls. Hammond's office is at the end of the corridor. Light shows under the door. He's here. Sarah approaches silently. The door is solid, probably reinforced. But there's a ventilation grate above it, and the drop ceiling is standard office construction. She climbs onto a desk in the adjacent office, pushes up a ceiling tile, pulls herself into the crawl space above. It's cramped, dark, insulation everywhere. She navigates by phone light, moving over ceiling joists toward Hammond's office. Below, she can hear voices. Multiple people. She finds the grate, angles her phone to record through the slats. Hammond is at his desk. On his computer screen is an encrypted chat interface, the kind dark web operators use. And standing in front of his desk are 2 men Sarah recognizes from Wade's files. Volkov's lieutenants. Here. In a federal building. Meeting with a deputy director. Brennan's arrest is a problem, Hammond is saying. His voice is calm but strained. He knows too much. If he talks, he won't. One of the lieutenants, heavy-set Russian accent, pulls out a phone, shows Hammond a video. Sarah can't see the screen, but Hammond's face goes pale. Brennan understands consequences. He'll stay quiet. And Mitchell? Being handled. Price is at $200,000 now. Someone will collect. The lieutenant pockets his phone. But you said you'd handle her. Federal warrant, arrest, removal. Why is she still operating? Hammond's jaw tightens. She's more connected than anticipated. Has federal protection, a task force. Then eliminate the task force. I can't just... Hammond stops himself. It's complicated. Uncomplicated. The second lieutenant steps forward. Younger. American accent, cold eyes. We've paid you for 15 years, protected your identity, enabled your operation, and in return you provide access. Control witnesses. Ensure our extractions succeed. He leans on the desk. One nurse shouldn't be a problem. She's not just a nurse, she's former military intelligence. She stopped your extraction team. She exposed Brennan. She made you look incompetent. The Russian lieutenant's voice hardens, which makes our partnership look weak. Which attracts attention we don't want. So either you eliminate her or we eliminate you and find someone more reliable. Hammond's expression shifts, fear, then calculation. I can make her disappear, officially. Federal detention, sealed facility, no record. She'll vanish. When? Tonight. I'm issuing the order as soon as we're done here. Hammond types something on his computer. Corrigan will execute the detention. He doesn't know I'm compromised. Sarah's recording everything. This is it. Direct evidence of conspiracy, corruption, Hammond coordinating with Volkov's network. More than enough to bury him. Then the younger lieutenant says something that makes her blood freeze. What about the boy? Reyes, is he still a problem? Hammond shakes his head. Corrigan moved him to a black site. Even I don't know the location. He's out of reach. Corrigan's the marshal? Yes. Why? The lieutenant smiles. It's not friendly. Because Corrigan's dead. Killed 20 minutes ago outside the safe house. Made to look like a robbery. Local police are handling it. Sarah almost drops the phone. Corrigan. Dead. The man who recruited her, tested her, brought her into the task force. Gone. Because Hammond gave up his location. Because this meeting was the trap. Not for Hammond, but for everyone trying to stop him. Hammond's face has gone white. You killed a federal marshal. We eliminated a threat, just like we'll eliminate Mitchell. The Russian lieutenant heads for the door. You have 12 hours. If she's not in custody by then, we assume you're no longer useful. And you know what happens to people who aren't useful. They leave. Hammond sits alone at his desk, staring at nothing. His hands are shaking. Sarah's hands aren't. She's thinking about Corrigan, about his final words, make it count, about the operation he set in motion, about how Hammond thinks he's won. But Hammond doesn't know about the recording, doesn't know Sarah's here, doesn't know the trap is still closing, just slower than planned. Sarah backs away through the ceiling, moving toward the exit. She's halfway there when her phone buzzes. Text from Pierce. Corrigan's down. Extraction team hit the safe house. Task force compromised. Get out now. She moves faster. The ceiling creaks under her weight. Below, someone shouts. Footsteps in the corridor. They heard. Sarah drops through a ceiling tile into an empty office. Lands hard. Pain shooting through her injured arm. The stitches pull. Blood soaks through her sleeve. But she's moving, out the door, down the corridor. Security is responding. She can hear them, multiple teams coordinating. They're between her and the service elevator. Sarah pivots, takes the main stairwell down. 2 floors, 3. She bursts into a random office level. Confused federal employees look up from late-night work. She doesn't stop, just runs through, ignoring shouts, heading for the fire exit. The door is alarmed, but Wade's diversion is still active. The alarm doesn't matter. She hits the street at full sprint. A car screeches up, Wade's sedan. Sarah dives into the passenger seat. Wade floors it before the door closes. Did you get it? Wade asks. Sarah holds up her phone. The recording is still there. Hammond and Volkov's lieutenants, everything they need. Got it. Then why do you look like that? Corrigan's dead. They killed him. Sarah's voice is flat. Hammond gave them the location. The whole task force is compromised. Wade's grip tightens on the wheel. Where do we go? Sarah pulls up Pierce's number. Calls. He answers immediately. You alive? For now, Corrigan? Confirmed. Ambushed outside the Coast property. 2 shooters, professional. Pierce's voice is ragged. Reeves is pulling everyone back. The task force is dissolved. Hammond won. We're done. No, we're not. Sarah puts the call on speaker. I have Hammond on video. Him and Volkov's people. Planning to kill me? Discussing Corrigan's murder? Coordinating operations? Direct evidence. Silence. Then, you recorded a deputy FBI director in his own office. Yes, that's illegal. Unauthorized surveillance won't be admissible. Don't care about admissible. Care about public. Sarah looks at Wade. Catherine can't use illegally obtained evidence in a story, but she can report on evidence that mysteriously appeared on the internet. Anonymous leak. Public interest. Wade is already nodding. Once it's out, Hammond can't suppress it. Media will cover it. Public will see it. The FBI will have to investigate their own. They'll try to discredit it, Pierce says. Call it fake, doctored, Russian disinformation. Then we give them more. Sarah pulls up Wade's files on her phone. We dump everything. Hammond's financial records, Brennan's communications, Corrigan's case files, all of it. Make it too big to ignore. Sarah, if you do this, you can't take it back. You'll be burning bridges with every federal agency. You'll never work in law enforcement again. Good. I'm a nurse, remember? She ends the call. Wade drives them to her office, a converted loft space filled with computers, filing cabinets, the accumulated work of years. She boots up her systems while Sarah downloads everything from her phone and the flash drive. Hammond's video, financial records, case files, witness testimonies, the complete picture of 15 years of corruption. This goes live. It's the biggest story of my career, Wade says quietly. And the end of Hammond's. He killed Corrigan, enabled trafficking operations, got 23 witnesses killed. Sarah watches the files upload. He deserves worse. You know what'll happen to you. Hammond will claim you fabricated everything. Federal arrest warrant, manhunt, prosecution. Your life is over. Sarah thinks about the last 4 years, playing invisible, pretending she was safe, believing she could hide from what she was. My life was over the second I pulled that fire alarm. This is just making it official. Wade starts the upload. Multiple servers, multiple platforms, encrypted but accessible. Dark web forums, journalist channels, activist networks. Everywhere the story can't be suppressed. 10 minutes until it's irreversible, Wade says. Sarah's phone rings. Unknown number, she answers. Miss Mitchell? This is Deputy Director Hammond. His voice is ice. I know what you're planning. I know you have a recording, and I'm giving you one chance to stand down. Why would I do that? Because if you release that video, I'll make sure everyone you care about suffers. Patricia Odom, the other nurses at Mercy General, Miguel Reyes and his sister, everyone connected to you. He pauses. I've been doing this for 15 years. I know how to make people disappear. And I'll start with Alicia Reyes. She'll vanish tonight. You'll never find her body. Sarah's blood goes cold. You're threatening civilians. I'm protecting my interests. You have 5 minutes to delete that recording and turn yourself in, or Alicia dies. Your choice. The line goes dead. Wade is watching her. Sarah? He's threatening Miguel's sister. Sarah's mind races. Alicia is in protective custody, or supposed to be. But if Hammond can reach her, if he has people inside the system, we need to find her, now. Pierce's voice comes through the radio earpiece she's still wearing. I heard. Already on it. Give me 2 minutes. Those are the longest 2 minutes of Sarah's life. Wade's upload is at 60%. The video of Hammond is buffering, ready to stream. But if Alicia dies because Sarah released it, Pierce comes back. Got her. She's at a hotel near the airport. Federal safe house that Hammond knows about. 2 agents on her door, but they're Hammond's people. How far? Well, 15 minutes in traffic. We don't have 15 minutes. Sarah looks at the upload counter. 70%. Wade, can you pause this? For how long? Until I get Alicia clear. Sarah's already moving, grabbing her jacket, checking her weapon. If Hammond's people get to her first, they won't. Pierce's voice is firm. Because I'm already at the hotel. Got here 5 minutes ago. But Sarah, there's a problem. What problem? Hammond's not just threatening Alicia. He's using her as bait. There are 6 hostiles in the lobby, another 4 covering exits. They're not here to kill her. They're here to grab anyone who tries to extract her. Sarah stops, thinks. You're saying it's a trap. I'm saying Hammond knew you'd try to save her, so he made her the lure. Pierce pauses. This is what Corrigan warned you about. Hammond's smart. He's been outmaneuvering people for years, and right now he's 3 steps ahead. Sarah looks at the computer screen. The upload is at 80%. Minutes from releasing everything. From destroying Hammond's entire network. But Alicia's in a hotel surrounded by armed men waiting to kill whoever shows up. The choice is simple and terrible. Release the video and Alicia dies. Maybe Miguel too, if Hammond's reach extends that far. But Hammond goes down. The network collapses. Future witnesses get protected or stop the upload. Turn herself in. Save Alicia. And Hammond walks. Continues operating. Keeps enabling trafficking for another 15 years. One life or dozens. Personal or systemic. The impossible choice operators make. Sarah's finger hovers over the keyboard. Then Wade says something that changes everything. What if we do both? Sarah looks at her. Explain. Hammond thinks you'll choose Alicia, that you're predictable, emotional. Military types always save the person in front of them. Wade's eyes are bright. So we make him think he won. You go to the hotel, make the extraction attempt, draw his people out, while I finish the upload and send everything to every journalist in the country. His people will kill me. Not if you don't actually go in. Wade pulls up a map of the hotel on her screen. Pierce is there. He can create a diversion, make Hammond's team think you're attempting entry, while you're actually just somewhere else. Visible, but untouchable. Sarah understands. Make Hammond commit his assets to the wrong target. And by the time he realizes the mistake, the story's public. His credibility's destroyed. His people can't operate openly anymore. Wade starts typing. But you'll need to sell it. Make Hammond believe you're coming, that you chose Alicia over the mission. Sarah pulls out her phone, calls Hammond back. He answers on the first ring. Smart choice, Miss Mitchell. I want proof Alicia's alive. You'll get it when you arrive. The hotel near the airport. You know the one. Come alone. Unarmed. If I see federal backup, she dies. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Sarah ends the call. Pierce is already moving. She can hear it through the earpiece. Footsteps, doors opening, his breathing controlled. I'm rigging a diversion on the north side. Propane tank from the maintenance area. Won't hurt anyone, but it'll look like a breach attempt. Hammond's people will respond. How long will it hold them? 5 minutes, maybe less. His voice is tight. Sarah, this is thin. If Hammond doesn't commit everyone to the diversion, he will, because he thinks he knows me, thinks I'm the operator who saves people. Sarah heads for Wade's door. He's about to learn he's wrong. She takes Wade's car, drives toward the airport. Her phone shows Hammond's people are tracking her. Of course they are. She's not trying to hide. She wants them to see her coming, to believe she's walking into the trap. The hotel appears ahead. Standard business traveler spot, 6 floors, surrounded by parking. Sarah can see the tactical team, trying to look casual, failing, too alert, too positioned, at least 10 hostiles visible. She parks 3 blocks away. Gets out. Starts walking toward the hotel on foot, visible, exposed. Her earpiece crackles. Pierce, I see you. They see you. Hammond's people are repositioning, north entrance, south entrance, covering all angles. Alicia. 3rd floor, room 317. 2 guards on her door, but the rest of the team is focused on you. Sarah keeps walking. 1 block. 2. The hotel is straight ahead. Hammond's people are tightening the net. This is the moment. She should feel scared, should feel trapped. Instead, she feels calm, because Hammond made the same mistake everyone makes. He assumed she'd do the expected thing, be predictable, follow the pattern. But operators survive by breaking patterns. Sarah's 50 feet from the hotel entrance when Pierce triggers the diversion. The explosion is loud but controlled, propane tank igniting on the north side of the building. Windows shatter, alarms scream. Hammond's people react instantly, moving toward the blast, thinking it's Sarah's entry point. In the chaos, Pierce is already inside, moving up the south stairwell, reaching the 3rd floor. The 2 guards on Alicia's door are distracted, watching the commotion below. Pierce takes them down quiet. Silenced weapon, 2 shots, both guards drop. He's through the door before Alicia can scream. Sarah Mitchell sent me. We're leaving, now. Sarah isn't anywhere near the hotel. She's watching from 3 blocks away, safe, while Hammond's entire team rushes to cover a breach that never happened. And in Wade's office, the upload hits 100%. The story goes live. Every news outlet, every journalist, every platform. Hammond's face, his voice, his conspiracy with Volkov's network, the video, the files, the complete picture. It explodes across the internet in seconds. Too fast to suppress, too distributed to stop. Sarah's phone starts ringing. Media, law enforcement, people she hasn't heard from in years. She ignores them all. Just watches the hotel as Pierce leads Alicia out the back entrance, into a waiting car, away from Hammond's collapsing operation. Her earpiece crackles. Package secure, Alicia's safe. You played him perfectly. Not me. Wade. Sarah starts walking away from the hotel. Hammond's finished. The story's everywhere. FBI will have to investigate. Atishi si... Nah. They're already moving. I'm seeing federal vehicles converging on Hammond's office. He's being arrested. Sarah stops walking, turns to face downtown Portland. Somewhere in the federal building, Deputy Director Marcus Hammond is learning what happens when you underestimate a nurse. Her phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. Impressive, but this isn't over. Hammond was one node. The network runs deeper. We'll be watching. V. Volkov himself. The man at the top. Making sure Sarah knows he's still out there, still operating, still dangerous. But for tonight, they won. Alicia's safe. Miguel's testimony will stand. Corrigan's death won't be for nothing. Sarah heads back to Wade's office. The journalist is surrounded by screens showing news coverage. Hammond being let out in handcuffs. FBI headquarters in damage control. Brennan's arrest getting new attention. The whole conspiracy unraveling in real time. They're calling you a whistleblower, Wade says. Media wants interviews, book deals, the whole circus. I'm not interested. I know, but Sarah, you did it. You stopped them. Wade pulls up a final document. Corrigan left something, sealed file, to be opened only if he died in the field. It's addressed to you. Sarah takes the tablet. The file is a video. She plays it. Corrigan's face fills the screen. He looks tired, but determined. If you're watching this, I'm dead. Which means Hammond moved faster than anticipated. But I'm betting you're still alive, still fighting, because that's what you do. He shifts, leans closer to the camera. I tested you because I needed to know if you were real. If the operator who disappeared into nursing was someone I could trust, and you proved it, not by shooting, not by being ruthless, but by thinking, by choosing, by being better than the system that failed. His expression softens. The task force is gone. The investigation will be chaos. But the evidence you gathered, use it. Finish what we started. And Sarah, don't go back to hiding. You're too good at this. People need you, whether you want them to or not. The video ends. Sarah sits in silence. Around her, the news cycle churns. Hammond's empire collapses. Volkov's network takes hits across 6 states. Witnesses who disappeared get their stories told. And Sarah Mitchell, invisible nurse, ghost operator, becomes the woman who brought down a federal conspiracy. Her phone rings again. Reeves this time. She answers. You just destroyed a deputy director's career and exposed corruption in 3 federal agencies, he says. There's something in his voice, not anger, respect. The legal fallout is going to be insane. Grand juries, investigations, trials, and every defense attorney will try to discredit you. Let them try. Sarah, you need protection, federal witness security, new identity, relocation. She thinks about that, about disappearing again, finding another hospital, another city, another chance to be invisible. No, she says. I'm done running. Then you're in danger. Volkov's network is wounded but not dead. They'll come for you. I know. Sarah looks at the screens, at Hammond's face, at the conspiracy she exposed. But I'm not hiding anymore. If they come, I'll be ready. She ends the call. Wade is watching her. What now? Now? Sarah stands. Her arm still hurts. Her body is exhausted, but her mind is clear. Now I go back to work. At Mercy General? If they'll have me. Sarah heads for the door. I'm still a nurse, remember? She walks out into the Portland dawn. The city is waking up. Normal people starting normal days. unaware of the battle fought in shadows. Sarah's face will be on the news by afternoon. Her name will be everywhere. The quiet nurse who exposed corruption. But right now, she's just tired and ready to go home. Her apartment is still dark when she arrives. Still compromised. She'll need to find somewhere else. But for now, she just wants to sit, to breathe, to process everything that happened. She's making coffee when someone knocks on the door. 3 sharp raps, deliberate. Sarah checks the peephole. It's Dr. Castellano. She opens the door. He looks uncomfortable holding a folder. Can I come in? She steps aside. He enters, takes in the Spartan apartment, the packed go bag by the door. I saw the news. About Hammond. About everything. And I owe you an apology. He sets the folder on her kitchen counter. I dismissed you, called you paranoid, told administration you were overstepping. I was wrong about all of it. Sarah doesn't respond, just waits. The hospital board met this morning, Castellano continues. They want to offer you a position, not just a nurse, coordinator of emergency response, training, protocols, threat assessment. They want someone who actually knows what they're doing. He slides the folder toward her. Inside is a contract. The salary makes her blink, but more than that, it's recognition, respect. The thing she never got in 4 years of invisible nursing. You don't have to decide now, Castellano says. But Sarah, what you did, stopping the extraction, exposing the conspiracy, that wasn't just nursing, that was something else, and we need that. But he leaves. Sarah stands alone with the contract, with the choice. She could take it, accept the promotion, the recognition, the authority she earned, or she could walk away, find another hospital, another city, another chance to be invisible. Her phone buzzes one last time. Text from Pierce. Volkov's people are pulling back, for now, but they left something for you. An address, a warehouse in the industrial district. Sarah knows she shouldn't go, knows it's probably a trap, knows the smart move is to let federal law enforcement handle it. But she also knows what she'll find there, what Volkov wants her to see. She grabs her jacket, leaves the contract on the counter, and drives to the warehouse. It's abandoned, windows broken, no signs of life. Sarah approaches carefully, weapon drawn, checking corners. The main floor is empty except for a single chair in the center. And sitting in the chair, tied and gagged but alive, is Richard Brennan. Someone's already been here, Volkov's people. They left Brennan as a message, as proof that they can reach anyone, anywhere, even someone in federal custody. Sarah removes Brennan's gag. He gasps, eyes wide with terror. They took me from the transport, just grabbed me. Said to tell you this isn't over. I know. What do I do? His voice breaks. I cooperated. I gave them everything. And they still... You made a deal with the wrong people. Sarah pulls out her phone, calls the authorities. And now you live with it. She waits for the federal response team to arrive, watches them take Brennan away. He's babbling, confessing, offering more information in exchange for protection he'll never really have, because that's what happens when you compromise yourself, when you enable evil, when you think you can control darkness. It consumes you. Sarah walks back to her car. The dawn is fully broken now. Portland is alive with morning traffic. Normal people living normal lives. And Sarah Mitchell, nurse, operator, survivor, drives home to decide what comes next. The contract waits on her counter, the promotion, the recognition, the life she earned. But she's thinking about Volkov's message, about Corrigan's video, about the fight that's not over. She's thinking about 23 red dots on a map, about witnesses still in danger, about a system that needs fixing from the inside. She picks up her phone, calls Reeves. I'm in, she says when he answers. Whatever comes next, whatever you need, I'm in. Sarah, you don't have to... Yes, I do. Corrigan was right. I'm good at this, and people need it. She looks at the contract, then sets it aside. The hospital can wait. This can't. Reeves is quiet for a moment, then there's a task force forming, new leadership, new protocols. They want someone who understands trafficking networks, someone who can move between medical and tactical, someone exactly like you. When do I start? Tomorrow, if you're sure. Sarah thinks about the last 5 days, about everything she lost and everything she found, about who she tried to be and who she actually is. I'm sure. She ends the call, stands in her apartment, the place she tried to call home, the life she tried to build. It was never going to work. She sees that now. You can't hide from what you are. You can only choose how to use it. And Sarah Mitchell is choosing to fight. Her phone buzzes one final time, text from Wade. Hammond's talking, full confession, immunity deal, going to testify against Volkov's entire network. Your evidence made that possible. You changed everything. Sarah doesn't respond, just deletes the message, packs a new go bag, prepares for whatever comes next. Because somewhere out there, Volkov is watching, planning, waiting. And when he makes his move, Sarah will be ready, not as a nurse, not as a consultant, but as what she's always been, an operator who refuses to look away when people need protecting, the woman they dismissed, underestimated, pushed aside, the woman who just proved she's the most dangerous person in the game, and the war is just beginning. The new task force operates out of a nondescript office building in southeast Portland, 3 floors above a Thai restaurant that fills the stairwell with the smell of basil and chili. Sarah reports at 8 a.m. sharp, wearing the same clothes she wore yesterday because everything else is still at her compromised apartment. Reeves meets her at the door. Welcome to the chaos. The office is exactly that. Desks covered in files, whiteboards mapped with connections, agents working phones and computers with the frantic energy of people racing against time. Sarah counts 12 people, maybe 15. Not a lot for a federal task force. Budget cuts, Reeves says, reading her expression. After Hammond, trust in interagency cooperation is low. We got what we could scrape together. He guides her to a desk in the corner. Yours. You'll be liaison between medical facilities and tactical operations. When witnesses need placement in hospitals, you coordinate security. When we need threat assessment in healthcare settings, you provide it. Sarah sets down her bag. The desk has a nameplate already. Sarah Mitchell, medical tactical consultant. Like she's been here for years instead of minutes. There's a catch, Reeves continues. Volkov's network is reorganizing. Hammond's arrest created a power vacuum. 3 different factions are fighting to fill it, which means operations are unpredictable, more violent, less controlled. What does that mean for witnesses? Means they're in more danger than before. Miguel's safe for now. We moved him to a classified location even I don't know about. But there are 4 other witnesses in protective custody, all testifying against trafficking networks, all potential targets. He hands her a folder. Inside are profiles. 2 women, 2 men, ages ranging from 17 to 43. Each one saw something, knew something, agreed to testify. And each one is now depending on a system that just proved itself compromised. Your job is to keep them alive, Reeves says. Whatever it takes. Sarah studies the faces. Young, scared, trusting authorities to protect them when authorities failed 23 times before. I'll need resources, personnel, authority to override hospital security protocols. You have it. Carte blanche from the director himself. Reeves lowers his voice. But Sarah, this isn't nursing. You'll be making calls that get people hurt, maybe killed. You sure you want that? She thinks about Corrigan's video, about the choice between one life and dozens, about how operators survive by accepting impossible decisions. I've been making those calls since the extraction. I'm just doing it officially now. The first test comes 6 hours later. A call from Mercy General, one of the protected witnesses, a 19-year-old named Destiny Clark, is in the ER with appendicitis. Emergency surgery needed. Standard procedure, except for the fact that Destiny's testimony links to Volkov's network, and Sarah's barely had time to implement new security protocols. She drives to the hospital with Pierce providing armed backup. The irony isn't lost on her, returning to the place where everything started, except now she's walking in with authority instead of sneaking through shadows. Patricia's at the nurse's station. Her face lights up when she sees Sarah. Honey, you're all over the news. Federal consultant, Hammond's arrest. The board wants to give you a medal. Just doing my job. Sarah shows her badge. Actual federal credentials. Laminated and official. I need to see Destiny Clark. She's a protected witness. Patricia's expression shifts to professional. Trauma Bay 2. Dr. Castellanos doing the eval. She hesitates. Sarah, there's something you should know. We had someone asking about her. Maintenance worker. Claimed he needed to check the room, but I've never seen him before. Sarah's instincts flare. Where is he now? Don't know. He left when I questioned him. Sarah radios Pierce. Possible hostile inside the building. Unknown male, posing as maintenance. Find him. She moves toward Trauma Bay 2, hand near her concealed weapon. The ER is busy, normal Thursday chaos, but Sarah's scanning every face, every movement, looking for the pattern that doesn't fit. Castellano is examining Destiny when Sarah enters. The girl is small, Hispanic, clutching her abdomen in obvious pain. 2 federal agents stand by the door, alert but not alarmed. I need to speak with her, Sarah says. Castellano looks up, surprised. Then he nods, steps back. She'll need surgery soon. Appendix is inflamed, probably perforated. Can't wait more than an hour. Sarah approaches the gurney, keeps her voice gentle. Destiny, I'm Sarah Mitchell. I'm here to make sure you're safe during the procedure. They said I'd be protected. Destiny's voice is tight with pain and fear. But someone was watching me in the waiting room. I saw him. Describe him. White guy, 40s, had a tattoo on his neck, looked like barbed wire. Sarah's blood goes cold. That matches a profile from Wade's files. Viktor Sokolov, Volkov's enforcer. Former Russian military. Specializes in witness elimination. She keys her radio. Pierce, we have confirmation. Viktor Sokolov, armed and dangerous, lockdown protocol. The hospital alarms don't sound. That would cause panic. But Sarah sees security moving into position. Exits covered. Corridors monitored. Standard lockdown, quiet and controlled. But Sokolov's a professional. He won't be easy to corner. Sarah looks at the 2 federal agents. You're staying with her. Nobody enters this room without my authorization. Not doctors, not nurses, not anyone. We need to take her to surgery, Castellano says. Not until the threat's neutralized. Sarah turns to Destiny. I know you're scared. I know it hurts, but we can't move you until we're sure it's safe. How long? As long as it takes. Destiny's eyes fill with tears. Not from pain, from exhaustion. From months of hiding, testifying, trusting a system that keeps failing. I should have just stayed quiet. Let them get away with it. Sarah pulls up a chair, sits at eye level. You did the right thing. What happened to you, what you saw, that matters. Those people need to face justice. Justice doesn't mean anything if I'm dead. You're not going to die. I won't let that happen. Sarah says it with absolute certainty, even though she knows she can't guarantee anything, because sometimes people need belief more than honesty. Her earpiece crackles. Pierce. Got him. Maintenance corridor, south wing. He's armed, moving to engage. Sarah stands. Stay here. Don't open the door for anyone. She runs. The maintenance corridor is 2 floors down. She takes the stairs 3 at a time, weapon drawn. Pierce is ahead, moving tactical, clearing corners. They converge on a service elevator. The doors are open. Inside, Viktor Sokolov stands calm, weapon raised, waiting. Federal agents, Pierce shouts. Drop the weapon. Sokolov smiles. I'm just maintenance, checking the electrical. With a Glock 19? Sarah keeps her weapon trained. You're Viktor Sokolov, wanted for 3 counts of murder. Get on the ground. Or what? You shoot me in a hospital? He doesn't move. You're federal. You have rules, protocols. I know how you operate. You're right, Sarah says. We have rules. Then she shoots him. Not to kill. She aims for his shoulder, the meat below the collarbone. Sokolov drops, weapon falling. Pierce is on him instantly, securing the gun, zip-tying his hands. Sokolov's screaming, but the sound is muffled in the concrete corridor. You shot me! He's furious, disbelieving. You can't. I can. Imminent threat to a protected witness. Sarah holsters her weapon. Medical response is on the way. You'll live, and then you'll spend the rest of your life in federal prison. They turn him over to security. Sarah heads back to the ER, her hands steady, but her heart racing. She just shot someone. In a hospital. The place she spent 4 years trying to heal people instead of hurting them. But Destiny's safe. The threat's neutralized. And sometimes that's the only math that matters. Castellano operates on Destiny an hour later with Sarah standing outside the OR, watching through the window. The surgery goes smooth, textbook appendectomy. Destiny will recover, will testify, will help bring down another piece of Volkov's network, and Sarah will carry the weight of pulling that trigger. Patricia finds her afterward sitting in the staff lounge with cold coffee. I heard what happened. You shot someone. I did what was necessary. Sarah. Patricia sits beside her. Honey, you're not just a consultant. You're something else. And I'm not sure this hospital is ready for what you've become. What have I become? Patricia considers. Someone who protects people. Not with bandages and IVs, with everything else. The kind of protection most of us can't provide. She pauses. But that comes with a cost. I see it in your eyes. You're carrying things nurses shouldn't have to carry. Sarah doesn't argue. Because Patricia's right. She's been carrying those things since Kandahar. Since the first operation that went sideways. Since she learned that protection sometimes requires violence. I can't go back to bedside nursing, Sarah says quietly. I tried. For 4 years. But it was always temporary. I know, we all knew, even if we didn't want to admit it. Patricia stands. The board still wants to offer you that coordinator position, but they'll understand if you say no. If you need to do, whatever this is. She leaves Sarah alone with the decision. The choice between the life she wanted and the life she's actually living. Her phone buzzes. Text from Reeves. 4 witnesses secured. Sokolov in custody. Hammond's testimony is giving us names, locations, operations. We're taking apart Volkov's network piece by piece. You made that possible. Sarah stares at the message. Made it possible by shooting someone, by threatening people, by becoming exactly what she swore she'd left behind, but also by saving Destiny, by stopping Sokolov, by doing what nobody else could. She responds, What's next? Reeves calls instead of texting. Volkov himself. We have enough to issue a federal warrant. Interpol's coordinating. He's in Montenegro right now, but extradition is possible if we move fast. What do you need from me? Nothing. You've done enough. Reeves pauses. Sarah, you don't have to keep doing this. You can step back, take the hospital job, live a normal life. Is that what you do? No, but I'm a career agent. This is all I know. His voice softens. You had another option. You gave it up to be here. Sarah thinks about the contract on her counter, the recognition, the salary, the life that finally acknowledged what she could do. I gave up hiding, she says. There's a difference. She hangs up, walks out of the hospital into Portland afternoon. The sky is gray, rain threatening. Normal people are ending their workdays, heading home, planning dinners and Netflix. Normal lives. Sarah drives to her compromised apartment one last time, packs the few things that matter, photos from her military days, Corrigan's video on a flash drive, the hospital ID badge she wore for 4 years. Everything else stays behind. She's loading the last box when someone knocks. This time, it's Alicia Reyes. They told me you were here, Alicia says. She looks tired but alive, safe. I wanted to thank you for saving Miguel, for everything. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. Alicia steps inside, looks around at the mostly empty space. My brother's going to testify. The trial's in 3 months. He's scared, but he's doing it because you showed him it was possible, that people actually fight back. Sarah sets down the box. I'm just doing my job. No, you did more than that. Alicia pulls out her phone, shows Sarah a photo. It's Miguel, smiling, holding a college acceptance letter. He got into UC Berkeley, full scholarship, criminal justice program. Says he wants to help people like you helped him. Sarah stares at the photo. This kid who almost disappeared into a trafficking network is going to college, going to have a life. All because a nurse refused to look away during one shift in an ER. Tell him good luck, Sarah says, her voice tight. Tell him yourself. He wants to meet you. Says he owes you his life. He doesn't owe me anything. Just living well. That's enough. Alicia hugs her. It's unexpected, fierce. Thank you for not giving up on us. She leaves. Sarah stands in her empty apartment, holding the photo, thinking about all the choices that led here. Every decision. Every compromise. Every time she told herself she could be normal. All leading to this moment, this understanding. Some people aren't made for normal. And that's not a tragedy, it's a purpose. The federal trial for Richard Brennan and Marcus Hammond happened 6 weeks later. Sarah testifies for 3 hours, detailed, technical, unshakable. Defense attorneys try to discredit her, call her a vigilante, question her credentials, suggest she's unstable. The jury doesn't buy it. They see the evidence, the recordings, the witness testimonies, the undeniable pattern of corruption. Brennan gets 25 years, Hammond gets life without parole. The verdicts are read in a packed courtroom, and Sarah watches from the gallery as two men who enabled trafficking for years are finally held accountable. It doesn't bring back the 23 witnesses who disappeared. Doesn't undo the trauma. But it's something. It's justice, imperfect and delayed, but real. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. Sarah pushes through without comment. But Catherine Wade catches her at the edge of the crowd. The story won a Pulitzer, Wade says. Investigative journalism. They cited your evidence as the breakthrough. Good for you. It was your work as much as mine. Wade hands her something, a hardcover book with Sarah's photo on the back jacket. I wrote about the whole operation, Hammond, Brennan, the extraction, everything. Publishers wanted to call it The Nurse Who Exposed Corruption. I went with something else. Sarah reads the title, The Invisible War, How One Woman Took Down a Federal Conspiracy. I don't want to be famous, Sarah says. Too late, you already are. Wade's expression is serious. But fame doesn't define you. What you do next does. The question is, what are you going to do? Sarah looks at the book, at her own face staring back. The quiet nurse who became something else. The invisible operator who made herself seen. I'm going to keep fighting, she says. The task force grows over the next 3 months. 20 agents, then 40, then 100. It becomes a permanent fixture. Federal Trafficking Task Force, Pacific Northwest Division. And Sarah Mitchell is named Deputy Director of Medical Operations. The promotion comes with an office, a team, resources. Real authority to change how the system protects witnesses. She implements new protocols, trains hospital staff, coordinates with security, builds the infrastructure that should have existed all along. But she also stays operational. When witnesses need protection, she's there. When threats emerge, she responds. She doesn't hide behind a desk. She's in the field, making the impossible choices that keep people alive. 1 year after the extraction at Mercy General, Sarah returns to the hospital for a ceremony. The board is dedicating a new wing, the Corrigan Memorial Unit, named after the marshal who died protecting witnesses. Patricia organized the whole thing, made sure his sacrifice was remembered. Sarah stands at the podium, looking out at the crowd. Doctors, nurses, administrators, federal agents, media, all watching the woman who started as invisible and became impossible to ignore. Marshal James Corrigan taught me something, Sarah says. Her voice is steady, practiced. He taught me that protection isn't about rules or procedures. It's about seeing people, really seeing them, when everyone else looks away. It's about standing between danger and the vulnerable, even when it costs you everything. She pauses, gathering herself. I spent 4 years trying to be invisible, trying to pretend I was just a nurse, just normal, just safe. But Corrigan showed me that some of us aren't built for safe. We're built for the fight. And that's not a flaw. It's a purpose. The crowd is silent, hanging on every word. So to everyone here who's ever felt dismissed, overlooked, underestimated, use it. Let people think you're less than you are. Let them make assumptions. And when the moment comes, prove them wrong. Not with words, with action, with courage, with the quiet strength that doesn't need recognition to be real. She steps down. The applause is loud, but she barely hears it. Because she's thinking about Corrigan, about the test he gave her, about how she almost failed by shooting instead of thinking. Patricia meets her afterward. That was beautiful, honey. Corrigan would have been proud. He tested me because he knew I'd need it, knew I'd face situations where the easy choice was wrong. Sarah looks around the memorial unit, bright, modern, equipped to protect vulnerable witnesses during medical treatment. This is what he wanted, a system that actually works. You built it. We built it. All of us. Sarah pulls out an envelope, the hospital's coordinator offer, finally signed and returned. I'm taking the job, part-time. I'll still work the task force, but I want to be here too, training staff, implementing protocols, making sure what happened to Miguel never happens again. Patricia smiles. Welcome back, honey, even if you're only here sometimes. Sarah spends the rest of the day touring the new unit. It's everything she imagined: secure rooms, panic buttons, encrypted communications. A place where witnesses can receive medical care without fear, where protection is built into the architecture instead of improvised during emergencies. She's in one of the examination rooms when Dr. Castellano finds her. Can we talk? He asks. They walk to the staff lounge, the same place where Sarah sat 4 years ago, invisible and underestimated. Now it feels different, like coming home after a war. I was wrong about you, Castellano says. Completely wrong. I dismissed you, talked over you, treated you like you didn't matter, and you saved lives because of it. You saved the whole system. I just did my job. No, you did mine. The job I should have been doing, protecting patients instead of protecting my ego. He sits, looks tired. I've been thinking about that night, the extraction, how you saw the threat and I ignored you, how my arrogance almost got people killed. You're a good doctor. I'm a competent technician who forgot that medicine is about people, not procedures. He meets her eyes. I want to learn from you how to see threats, how to think tactically, how to actually protect patients instead of just treating them. Sarah considers. Castellano asking to learn from her. The doctor who called her paranoid now wanting her expertise. The validation she never needed but earned anyway. Training starts next week, she says. I'll send you the schedule. His relief is visible. Thank you. She returns to the task force office that evening. Most of the team is gone, late shift operating on minimal staff. Sarah's about to leave when Reeves calls her into his office. Volkov, he says. Montenegro finally approved extradition. He'll be on U.S. soil in 48 hours. Sarah feels something settle in her chest. The man at the top. The one who built the network, enabled the trafficking, ordered the hits. Finally, within reach. Where's the trial? Federal court, downtown. 3 months to prepare. It'll be the biggest trafficking case in a decade. Reeves leans back. And you're going to testify. Tell the jury everything. How you stopped the extraction, exposed the conspiracy, took down Hammond. Will it be enough? With Hammond and Brennan both testifying against him, with the evidence we've compiled? Yeah, it'll be enough. Reeves smiles, tired but genuine. You did it, Sarah. You actually did it. She wants to feel victorious, wants to celebrate, but all she feels is exhausted, drained, ready for it to be over. What happens after? She asks. After Volkov's convicted and the network collapses. What do I do then? Reeves considers. Whatever you want, you've earned that. Sarah drives home to her new apartment. Different building, better security, actual furniture. It's not much, but it's hers. Safe, clean, a place she might actually stay instead of preparing to run. She makes dinner. Something simple. Sits at her kitchen table and eats in silence, thinking about the journey. From invisible nurse to federal consultant to deputy director. From hiding to fighting to winning. But winning doesn't feel like she expected. It's not triumphant or satisfying. It's just done. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Then curiosity wins. Sarah Mitchell? The voice is young, female, uncertain. Who's this? My name is Jennifer Pack. I'm a nursing student at Oregon Health Sciences. I saw your testimony at the trial, and I wanted to say thank you. Sarah sits up. For what? For showing me what nursing can be. What we can do when we refuse to just follow orders. Jennifer's voice gains confidence. I'm studying emergency medicine. I want to work in high-risk environments, and everyone tells me nurses should stay in their lane, not make waves. Just do what doctors say. And? And you prove that's wrong. That nurses can see things others miss. That we can save lives in ways nobody expects. A pause. I want to be like you, not hiding, not invisible, actually making a difference. Sarah feels something shift, a weight lifting. Because this is why it mattered. Not the trials or the convictions or the recognition, but the message, the example, the proof that being underestimated is an advantage if you refuse to accept the dismissal. Then do it, Sarah says. Study, train, learn everything you can. And when someone tells you to stay quiet, to not interfere, to know your place, ignore them. Do what needs doing, and don't apologize for being competent. Thank you, Jennifer says, voice thick with emotion. Thank you for showing me it's possible. She hangs up. Sarah sits holding the phone, thinking about all the Jennifers out there. Young, capable, told they're less than they are, waiting for permission to be powerful. She doesn't need to save all of them. Just show them it's possible to save themselves. The trial happens 3 months later. Sarah testifies for an entire day. Volkov sits calm at the defense table, watching her with the cold calculation of someone who's spent decades avoiding justice. But the evidence is overwhelming. Hammond's testimony, Brennan's cooperation, the recordings, the files, the pattern of corruption spanning 15 years. The jury deliberates for 6 hours, returns with guilty verdicts on all counts. Volkov shows no emotion as the judge sentences him to life in federal prison. No parole, no appeal. It's over. Sarah walks out of the courthouse into Portland sunshine. Spring has arrived, cherry blossoms blooming, the city alive with color and warmth. Normal people living normal lives, unaware of the battle fought in their name. Patricia's waiting on the steps. She's brought flowers, cherry blossoms, ironically. Thought you might want these. Celebrate the win. It's not a win, it's just finished. Honey, you took down a trafficking network, exposed federal corruption, saved countless lives. That's a win by any measure. Patricia hands her the flowers. The question is, what now? Sarah looks at the blossoms. Fragile, beautiful, temporary. Now I keep going. There are more witnesses, more threats, more fights. Forever? Until I can't anymore. Sarah meets her eyes. Because someone has to, and I'm good at it, better than I ever was at pretending to be normal. Patricia smiles. Then I guess Mercy General is lucky to have you, part-time or not. They walk together through downtown Portland, past coffee shops and bookstores, and the ordinary machinery of civilian life. Sarah's phone buzzes constantly, media requests, congratulations, interview offers. She ignores them all, because fame isn't the point. Recognition isn't the goal. The work is what matters. The protection, the fight, the refusal to look away when people need defending. That night, Sarah returns to the task force office. Most of the team is celebrating. Volkov's conviction is a major victory, but Sarah's not in the mood for parties. She's reviewing case files, planning operations, preparing for what comes next. Because there's always a next, always another network, always another threat. The work never stops. Pierce finds her at her desk near midnight. You should be celebrating. We won. We won this round. Then take a break. Enjoy the victory. You earned it. He sits on the edge of her desk. Sarah, you don't have to carry this alone. You have a team now, resources, people who actually know how to fight. I know. But I also know what happens when I stop paying attention. People die. She closes the file she's reading. Corrigan died because he trusted the system. I won't make that mistake. Corrigan died because Hammond was corrupt. That's not on you. Maybe. But I'm the one who survived, which means I'm the one who has to finish what he started. Sarah looks at Pierce. You understand that. Why you run your security firm. Why you can't just walk away. He nods slowly. Yeah, I understand, but understanding doesn't make it healthy. Healthy is for people with options. Sarah stands, grabs her jacket. I'm going home. Try to sleep. Be back in 6 hours. She walks out into Portland night. The city is quiet, peaceful, safe. Because people like Sarah work in shadows, making impossible choices, carrying weight civilians never see. Her apartment is dark when she arrives, empty but not lonely. She's gotten used to the silence, prefers it even. No distractions, no compromises. Just the work and the purpose. She's making tea when her phone rings one last time. Jennifer Pack again. "I'm sorry to call so late," Jennifer says, "but I just got accepted into an emergency medicine fellowship, full funding, and I wanted you to be the first to know." Sarah smiles. It's the first genuine smile in weeks. "Congratulations." "I'm going to do it right, learn the tactics, the protocols, the way to actually protect patients, like you did." Jennifer's voice is bright with determination. "And someday, when I'm the nurse everyone underestimates, I'll be ready, because you showed me how." "Good. The system needs more people like you. Like us," Jennifer corrects, "people who refuse to be invisible. They say goodbye." Sarah stands in her kitchen, tea cooling in her hand, thinking about legacy, about what matters when the fighting stops, about the difference between recognition and impact. She doesn't need her name on buildings or medals on her chest, doesn't need journalists writing books or students learning her tactics. She just needs the Jennifers of the world to know it's possible, to see that being dismissed is not the end, it's the beginning. That quiet strength is the most dangerous kind, that the people society overlooks are often the ones holding everything together. Sarah Mitchell was a ghost who became impossible to ignore, a nurse who saved lives in ways nobody expected, an operator who proved that underestimation is only weakness if you accept the label. She spent 4 years hiding, pretending, running from what she was. And then one night, during one shift, in one hospital, she stopped running and changed everything. Not because she was special or chosen or destined, but because she refused to look away, refused to stay silent, refused to let people suffer while she played it safe. That's the message. That's the lesson. That's the truth nobody tells you until you live it. The most powerful people in the world are often the ones nobody sees coming. The quiet ones, the dismissed ones, the ones society underestimates, right up until they prove everyone wrong. Sarah finishes her tea, goes to bed, sleeps 4 hours without nightmares, wakes before dawn and returns to the office where new cases wait. New witnesses need protecting, new fights demand attention, because the work never stops, the threats never end, and someone has to stand between danger and the vulnerable. Might as well be the woman who's good at it, the woman they tried to dismiss, the woman who refused to disappear. Sarah Mitchell, nurse, operator, protector, invisible until she decided not to be, and powerful beyond measure once she stopped pretending otherwise.